I'm back. So, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm okay. I'm coming back on live. Okay, we're live again. Had to come back on. Good. Okay. All right. So, how is everyone? So that yeah. Excuse me. Uh, I know this is a taboo conversation, so I put that. I put that. No, I put that right back up. Thank you very much. I put yes, and I put up currency. Yes. Since you always talk about currency to me, you brought up a credit score to me earlier. Well, let me tell you this: my clients are paid clients, every one of them, and they love paying. They wish they could pay more. So yeah, So, yeah, number one, how dare you? Two, my clients actually pay for the readings. In fact, I was thinking like my tier, what I should call them, I should call it spiritual infants, spiritual teens, spiritual adults, spiritual elders. I should have that. Like it's like, like spiritual adults are like readings that are paid. Like people paid for their readings. That should be called a spiritual adult. So these are spiritual adults or maturing spiritual adults because they're able to be accountable. They're responsible for their readings and paying for their readings rather than being rude to psychics and then asking that psychic for like, hey, read me or like read this, talk about that, talk about Jesus, talk about God, and they don't pay for the readings. So that those are spiritual infants and spiritual maybe teens, young teens. Yeah, these. Yeah, I should have like a list. Spiritual adults. These are people who take responsibility for paying for their readings. They are spiritual adults because they take accountability and they're respectful with the psychic. Also, they pay for the readings. So right. Spiritual infants, spiritual young teens, spiritually, I mean, they do not. They're there. They can be respectful. Then I can answer maybe like spiritual questions for them. Maybe help guide them in the right way. Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing this last live and this live are for spiritual adults. So there you go. Yeah, I'm making contact. I'm making spiritual contact with spiritual adults specifically. Yeah, high spiritual adults who call in, and things like that. But also, the upcoming spiritual, like young ones, the infants and the teens, yeah, adolescents, spiritual adolescents. They are growing. They're growing, and we're saying hello to them as well. We love like your different conversations, your questions to us. We try to answer psychically. We try to answer, where we can, but we just have to, acknowledge. Okay, there's different groups here, so we need to acknowledge. So now I'm starting to understand how maybe like when it comes to members, like who's going where. Yeah. So but I'm going to have information for everybody. Early this morning, we had a conversation that was for anybody and everybody. So, but based on what people were writing in the chat box, I thought I would take the time to explain to you well, which psychic that I am so that you are just, it's very clear, at what level I'm working on, what I'm talking about. So I'm taking the time today, this little time just to express, like, hey, I do readings, but also I am professional. I'm not self-proclaimed. I'm not a self-proclaimed psychic or self-proclaimed, decided to today, ooh, I think I'll create a YouTube channel and call it Psychic Services. And yeah, that could is and like invite people, I can like turn cards over with them. No, 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 no. I am tested. I work with people. I work with like famous psychics. Trust me to read with their clients. That type of tested. I'm with the top company that says, "Ooh, you are worth $10 a minute." I work with these kinds of companies. Okay, so I work with people from all over the world. I just want to be clear that when I come on to do lives, and I'm a psychic, now I know I can tap into many conversations, including biblical, like the Bible and things like that. I love scriptures. But I am, in real life, I am a professional, expert psychic, reputable psychic. So I just don't want to get that mixed up. Okay. So I want to make sure that we're clear, that we have an understanding, and I'm here to work with adults. Okay. All right. Cool. What I mean by adults, I mean spiritual adults. Spiritual adults, please. Yeah. So, I'm working with clients. Clients contact me. Yes, spiritual adults. They're adults, but they're also spiritually adults. And yeah, I'm helping them to get through real life stuff. Like when they have to go head to like toe to toe with like with companies. I mean, they are, in lateral positions, and things happen, and I am advising and giving insight in those areas concerning the corporate world. So I'm in a very specific level of intellect and conversation, and I invite others to like approach this more seriously because I am working to bringing my YouTube channel to life, the same high standard quality of whatever the service is. Even if we're having biblical conversations, I still expect, yeah, bring your information, bring your scripture, bring questions you've always wanted to ask. Even if it could be bizarre, like there's no question that's, what do you call it? No question too small. Yeah, you could still ask, no problem. Like people say, oh, this might sound a little petty, I'm gonna ask, or too small. No, any question is a great question. So I have no problem with you asking a question. It's just if there's statements, if it's a statement and you're like, what do you call it? Declaring a statement, I want to know, like, where did you get that information? I don't want, like, you don't have to, like, write down the whole, you can just write, like, what do you call it? The chapter, and you can write the verse, and write the book, obviously. Book, chapter, verse. That's all you got to do. That's fine. You don't have to like give a whole sermon, right, in the chat box. I'm not expecting that, but you at least like put ISA 4312 example. That's just the example, and then the rest could be just you saying whatever you want to say, and then I can. Oh, well, I see you have a place where you cited. Let me check it out, and then I can better explain myself. But if it's just a whole lot of blah blah blah, just because you can't go do that at a bar, you can't just walk up to somebody and tap on the shoulder and blah blah blah, or just because no one's listening anymore at the bus station, whatever. Like people are trying to have dinner, and you're like, excuse me, do you have a moment? Can I have a moment of your time? And it's blah blah blah, you know. Oh, they're not just saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, grab a seat." No, you just no. If you could just kind of like direct where you're trying to get us to hear, we'll look at it. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll back off that. But yeah, I just want to be clear. Like so when you come in and I'm doing readings, that's what's going on. I'm when I say I'm working, I mean I'm a psychic number one, and I'm getting paid by clients, and it could be somebody like they're using different currencies of the world or different. They be in different places of the world because of beautiful technology, and so and I'm doing what I do, from coaching to advising, and if they have questions about spirituality, religion, they have questions about like corporate stuff, family stuff, love and heart stuff. I'm there for them. I am there, and that's the work that I do. Hmm. Yeah. So yeah. Hmm. I like to talk about all areas of life. So, and as you know, I don't think like we work with teachers, work with teachers of like high standing. Like you just don't accidentally make it into their classrooms. We work with those. We work with professors who teach. That means teachers who work in university or college or private university and college and schools. So we work with those, like boarding school type teach. We work with, gosh, of all walks of life, lawyers. We work with doctors. We work with pre med students. We work with new entry level college students or freshmen. We work with, just people that just look. They're just smart on their own. Like they're brilliant. They can be servers. They work at a call center. But they're smart. They're brilliant, and they are enhancing their life, and they're building for themselves. A place where they can call home and love their family. I work with them. I work with caterers, chefs, on and on and on and on. In fact, I view teachers and nurses, or excuse me, teachers and nurses, but teachers and therapists specifically, they're like my soul tribe. I love them. I love working with therapists. Um, yeah, so any walk of life, including the warriors, all of the warriors in the world, work with those. Athletes, work with those. Yeah, we have some boxers, some kickboxers that we work with. A lot of big, like I guess um, they are social media, uh, I guess, kind of like celebrity or known people. So we work with those as well. Yeah, we have a few of those that come through. That on the occasion work with musicians, who they're on their way to releasing music, a new song or demo, getting their demo, getting into the studio again. What's it look like? This next chapter, this next semester, or this next project. They want to know. They hear their music on the radio. That kind of thing. Um, yeah. So we will work with you or answer your question, but people I think were kind of like they saw psychic and they were crashing in, and I'm like, I know you're just waking up. I know you must be overwhelmed. Your travels. So relax and pull yourself together. I'll show you around. So I just kind of like Don't burn any books. Don't be a book burner, please. You know, and don't be afraid of science and professional progress. And coming here ablazing everything. As far as we've come, please don't do that. Please don't come burning books. Don't be a progress. Like want to set us back 1,000 years. Please don't do that. We trusted you. We let you into our village, and this is the way you repay us. Out, get out. We know the scene. You don't have to. You don't have to do that. We don't have to go that far out, right? We don't have to be that real. Like be a scientist, be scientific in the mind, be a philosopher, and ask questions, banter, philosophize, things like that. Meditate before you hit send. Like, ask the right question. Let me pose the question the right way. You could then add a little heat to it. Add a little shade, little shadow. Add that, but pose a question. You could pose a question the right way and add a little jealousy to it. Like, yeah, I'm jealous, but answer this question. You could write it like that. Like, oh, you jealous, but you did pose a question, so I'm gonna answer your question. Yeah, but like just full on like, yeah, I'm jealous and what? Like, what are you doing with that gift? That is something I don't need to respond. I'm not gonna respond to anything like that. I don't have to. That is worse as somebody presenting like you have to ask them for permission to do anything, like or like to grow or to advance financially. Like you have to get permission or go through them first. And we know, well, I know that that's not true. So I definitely ain't not gonna allow that to stay in the chat box because I'm thinking somebody will read that and believe it, and that sets them back 1,000 years. So yeah, so that's why I'm saying like meditate first before you hit send. Yeah, because the moment we spot it, we are going to like see if okay, does it align with the universal laws of metaphysics? Is it okay? Then compare it to scriptures. What does the Bhagavad Gita say about it? Is it spiritual, like Bhagavad Gita? If Krishna strikes it down, and then Jesus Christ strikes it down, it's like, okay, I've got to strike it down, man. I'm gonna strike it down. So yeah, so like you could be jealous, but actually pose your question from like a philosopher. Be a philosopher though. Be a jealous philosopher. Don't just be jealous. Be a jealous philosopher, or vice versa. Be a philosopher. You can add your jealousy, like whose work, like like where did you get that work? You know, you can ask. You can do that. That's fine. And then you can, but I'd rather you ask. This is an important question. I want you to answer this, and then And then if remember, if you're gonna say anything about a God, you gotta include the chapter and the verse. You don't have to be necessarily Abrahamic, but especially if it's Abrahamic, because we need to, know what you're talking about. We need to know if you know what you're talking about. And if you know what you're talking about, and we can look it up and match it and see if it matches to what you're saying, then we can work with that. Then that's cool. Then we'll say at least you're smart. You might be jealous, but at least you're educated. You're an intellectual jealous person, and that's okay. You don't want to leave us spiritual people over here just saying, "Oh, you're just jealous. You're just jealous, and that's it. Period. That's all there is to you." You don't want us over here sending out the signals that that's all you are. No, be an intelligent, intellectual, jealous philosopher person. That's now that's making headway. That is something to like say like admire like yeah. You look back now you can say like pat on your back, you know, like yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm just making sure. I know that y'all hate this title. I know. That's why I wrote it. So I want putting that fire. You know I'm very good at that. You know I know how to blaze. I put the little matches between your toes and light that, light each of them little. You know. Hello, hello, world of science. Hey, good to say hi to you. Hello, you come to visit. Good, nice to see you. hmm it's a good day. I'm just working with clients and over here having a little bit of good time. We are working with clients and helping them to evolve and working through corporate issues, getting people, from, they're high in standing and they're moving throughout in the world of education, science because they're teachers and, in mind, in corporate fighting, and we're helping to navigate how to, win an argument from the place of they're not that high up on the ladder. So how do you navigate that and win? Yes, spiritually guided, metaphysical information, and keep the job. Oh, by all means, for now, keep the job. I'm from, but okay, so straightforward. I am from the USA. My work is international, but I work with people from all over the world. So I am international in terms of my work. Yeah. My journey and work, I'm from, if you say, I mean, where are you born? Where are you from? I would say started in California. That's where I landed my contracts. Only go as far as adults. Right. So, right. So my adult in money making days, California. Yeah. Yeah. Professional psychic. California, that's the time when when I would go to the studios in Beverly Hills and working with celebrities and people, like billionaires, money, things like that. And they follow me on my social medias still to this day. And if I contact any of them, they always contact me back. They know me as psychic, or they call me my street psychic name is called PA or Onyx. And yeah, so I have friends that go way back, but I even have friends that go way back till teens. My friends who I read for as a child also have reached out and said everything you said came to pass. Also, as a child, I was a part of an organization called OPERA, Organization Psychic Research Education Association, something like that. OPERA, Organization Psychic Research Education Research Association. So I was part of that, the youngest there. And so while I learned what I did from there, I worked with peers, and then they grew up and did everything exactly like they had the kids, whichever the kids, the work. And also it's like they literally told me, or I told them, or like they didn't tell me, I told them what they would do in life, in their adult life. And they came back and said, guess what? And very favorable readings. And they always say, "Hey, is there anything I can do for you? I know SEO now, you know." And so they have asked. They wrote, me long paragraphs. Now these are people who I partied with growing up, like where I couldn't drive. I didn't know how to drive. They could drive, or such. We. I remember we dip and go to the city from our little town, and we would go together, all piled up in a car. That kind of situation. We'd have a great time together. So yeah, going to like I guess like a club for young people not over 21 yet. So that was what I meant by party with them. We just had a great time. Yeah, obviously, and a wonderful psychic experience together. Yeah, my life is very much still is on track. I've always like before that, I had a spiritual teacher who was a medicine woman. So I had a nice, straightforward track to being a psychic, a professional. Today, well, as I become an adult, leading up today, professional phone psychic. So that's what, in fact, I'm working now. So the phone could ring anytime, and I'm available till today is. Oh, no, no, no. I'm available till I get tired. But I like to stay on. I like to be disciplined, so I stay on until 3. Tomorrow I have to stay on till 3 o'clock, and then Monday I stay on until 4. Those are my working schedule. But I've been working all week, and because I'm trying to get used to coming in here on live. So basically, I want to use my YouTube channel as my everything professional at the level that I'm working. I want to channel that through my YouTube so I can continue to help everybody. So yeah. Um, Usually when people are speaking with me, they're paying and they're too busy paying for their questions rather than, being insulting to me. They're not trying to pay. And I'm at the tier where they don't have time to insult me. If you have time to insult me at my tier that I'm talking about, like at $10 per minute, then because I'm the higher end psychic these days. So yeah, I'm a higher end psychic now. My tier is like $10 per minute, and so not many people are gonna call me at $10 per minute just to be insulting. So so they're not like like this is my reading. I'm paying for it. No, they don't have time. They're like, okay, please answer. It's like they don't have time to even say, look, I have a question. All I want to know is that's all. That's America. That's that's the difference between America and Australia and Europe. They definitely don't say all I want to know is that's America. So yeah, I love the working with the different what do they call it? Different nations of the world because everybody is a lot is different as night and day, but also the walk of life is very similar. There's a lot of things that happen in life that that could happen in a Muslim country too. So I love that the differences, and I love the similarities between all the peoples of the world, the countries in the world, and yeah. So yeah, I work with so many people, and I want to introduce that higher expertise to my YouTube. In fact, I want to call my YouTube channel my website. So, yeah. So I'm working very hard to get to where I can offer memberships and do greater works. And I want to make it where I can do live venues, but my live venues are not like people to come pay to get in them. I want to make it where they're open. And based on like I guess where my clients are, like I could go to them and visit them in person and create venues for them just to come, like if they happen to be in the neighborhood, like to come on down, or where we can touch bases. So I want to create kind of like like a mobile type of spiritual temple. But this would be a lot more like my YouTube channel would be more like it's not like they got a beef with me or something. They're like don't like what I did or something going on with us, that they can always like put in the chat box or email. And, if they don't want to email, they can message. So I'm working on sort of creating that that sort of report. So that's what I'm working on with my YouTube channel. Um, I'm I'm learning how to, I guess, like this one thing that I have to, I guess, that I have to accept because they're like the contracts. Obviously, I can't like tell a person off for the sake of telling them off. But I don't want my YouTube channel with me being a sassy psychic all the whole time either. So, I mean, I like to say what I say, like I said what I said. I like all that too, but I have to kind of monitor. I don't want to get distracted by fussing all the time when I could be having productive spiritual conversations, or we can get into a deep conversation about some scripture or about the Bhagavad Gita or about anything. I mean, there's some powerful, interesting psychic conversations. This is extraordinarily fascinating. Today we talked about the exploration of dreams, things like that. So um, I speak the way I speak. I'm not going to change my personality. I like intellectual speech. I love speaking about in the realm of what I actually do for the living, which is interpreting dreams, talking about the different psychic gifts. I'm in those areas. It doesn't pertain to a race. It pertains to the person who studied it. I studied this professionally all my life. So when people pay me when they ask these questions, these are the answers that I give them. These are the explanations. Except this time I get to share it, the whole conversation, the whole shebang, because you don't have to pay for it. And I get to talk to you as long as I want to talk to you. So that's what I'm doing. Besides, like, you know, uh, trying to, open the minds to like, people wanting to come in and burn books and things like that, like book burners, and then people who want to like uh, block the progress that we've made by 1,000 years, because they're narrow minded, they're they want to be stuck in their way, and it's like at some point you just have to say, you know what, let them create a village and live in that village. There are people who want to like one of my clients for the first time is riding came over here, right, the US, and riding in cars that drive themselves, for example. It's like, oh my gosh, I know America had cars that drive themselves. Like the little things that we take for granted. They were like, oh wow, this and that, and you had this, and I got to get used to that. So yes, and then there's people who are like, um, very, it's like people who are trying to be other people's gods, but in the but the world is in the futuristic sense. Like cars are about or preparing to fly, for example. So cars that drive them themselves, but you have somebody trying to be a mediocre, like prehistoric god to you, earth god to you, and it doesn't make any sense. And so they're like scratching their head. They're like, why don't you want me to be your? Why don't you not want them to take charge of your life? But like literally, you're asking someone to not only make your meal but bring it to you, right? Like you could sell products to people and the product never come to your home. Like you could write a book, upload it to the computer, never actually get the book yourself, but send it to somebody else's address. Like so we're living in a futuristic world where prehistoric minded, like deities, like wanting to be your god. Woo, woo, woo. Shake it off. That was too much for me. Oh, That was too much. Oh gosh. So can you imagine somebody coming up from the holler? Hi, how you doing? I'm right here. Yeah, we're gonna be right here. We're gonna be here. Who am I? Well, I'm God. He got caught. He got cut off jeans and a sweater and it's cut off at the seams. He's like, I'm here. I'm here to tell you what to do. Barefooted, no crown. It's like that's gonna be your deity. He there to be a deity. He's like, well, I reckon I don't know that book, but yeah, it's probably better to put it in the fire in the pier. Yeah, we're gonna put it on the pyre over there and gonna let it burn on up because you don't need the book. AI. Mm. Oh, whew. Oh gosh. Oh. Mm. Mm. Okay. So yeah, I'll try to catch them as they come, and for that very reason, if I see anything suspicious in the chat box, I'll get rid of it. Unless it has. Now, I did say this: if it has a strong context, even if they say, "Look, I don't like psychics, and I think you should get rid of those cards, burn them. We could burn them together." As long as they add a fact to it, like they add whatever scripture or something that we can cite and go look at, I'm okay. I'm gonna let it ride, and it'll be an educational moment. And who knows? They might prove. But I know I'm gonna be honest with you. I am proven to help people and never harm anyone and always, regardless of what they're trying to do, they always are becoming a better person, a better light for people, not only for themselves but also people in their family, because a lot of them are also asking, like to make improvements so that they can be better wife, a better mom, a better dad, better husband, a better, just a better relationship with family members, even with mother-in-laws, in-laws, and just flat out mothers and sons, sons and mothers and daughters and fathers, all of it, the whole bit. So, um, so it's gonna be. I'm gonna be honest with you. There probably is a little bit of biases because of that experience, and because of the level of conversations the depths of the conversations that I'm having with real people from all over the world. That it won't just be simply just I disagree with your lifestyle, so you should get rid of it. And even if you do support that with scripture, because obviously I've got some things to say in that regard, and I'm not just talking about I don't believe in that. I'm talking about like if we're gonna bring it up, let's do a deep dive together. And yes, I will even bring up. Now, this is my vertical, but I also have a studio, so I can bring up the studio and bring up the scripture, and we will read it together. So that's where I'm coming from. Okay, so I don't mind the conversations, but it can't just be like you coming from out of the holler and telling me to burn books. We're not gonna allow you to do that, and that's because that is not academic. Okay, you have to be academic about it. Okay, you gotta come across with intellect. You got to come with the science. I want it all. You got to bring it. Bring your credentials. If you don't need, I mean, not a requirement, but if you have credential, bring that too. But definitely, most definitely, you got to bring cites. You got to bring citation with the source and your resources. You can't just bring sources like, well, just go read the book and this and author. No, you got to have a citation with it. We want the source. You know, in your resources or in your toolkit, you're going to need source and you're going to need citation. That means citation means, okay, what page? Page 24 of that source book. Okay, this is where the book is. Fine. All right, chapter 24 or verse 511. Fine. In the Bhagavad Gita. Got it. We can pull it up. We read it together, and then we start talking about it. So that's how you do. You got to come across like that, and we'll hear you out, and you can speak your piece. But since we're not children anymore or teens, you can't be like, like banning tarot cards from the house. You don't have that authority or say. Well, never had it, but you don't have that. We'll just, for the sake of thought, you don't have that authority and say any longer. You don't have that authority. So now that we have our own home and we have our cars can anywhere we can put our cars on the table, on the glass table, and it'll be there when we can make our rounds, do yard work, and when we come back, those cards will still be on that table. So now, what do you say after that? Now that you spoke, okay, I just don't allow them in my house. I just don't. I just feel like I feel. It's the demonic. Well, you know how I feel. It's just anything that's just not the Bible. That is no longer good enough at this level. So you can't come with that energy or those words at this level. So yeah, you can disagree, but you're gonna need a little more than just because I said so. I need something stronger than because you said so. Because I said they could stay. So now what? Now where that leads? Now where does that leave us going forward? From that point forward. So now what do you have to say? So that's what we're saying. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And shout out to spiritual adults, meaning spiritual adults as in they take accountability for their psychic readings. They pay for their psychic readings. Spiritual adults, they pay for their psychic readings. And they take responsibility for their psychic readings. So shout out to them. And then the spiritual adolescents or spiritual children, spiritual teens, okay, they, you know, are working, they're growing, they need additional information, but just because they don't understand something don't mean they should, put it in a dumpster and then set the dumpster on fire, you know. Put the books in the dumpster and set the dumpster on fire from the inside. Just because they don't understand something. No, let's talk about what you don't understand. Especially you want to do it with me because, like I said, look at the years that I put into this, and I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. So this is the best time to ask, why do the tarot card thing? Why just say what you have to say? Why do you have to charge? Why do you charge people? Why do you do it for pay? Why don't, or if it's a gift, shouldn't you just gift it to people? Why do you just, well, people don't never think to say, do you say in the name of, whether, I don't know, I mean, that's a totally different conversation, but people don't even bring it up. Whether, with whose name is it in? Do you do it Do you give it to other gods? You say you're guys, or you say is it coming from God or is it God's? They don't mention that. They're not mentioning that. They're mentioning the idea of the saying psychic, tarot cards. They're only talking about that. They're not even talking about the full scope of conversation. A pleasure. Welcome. Okay. Mhm. Welcome. It's a pleasure. Donald here. A pleasure. And how would we like to start? I like to just connect with whatever it is, but I use, like array of gifts or and tools, gifts or tools together. But it just depends on the question. I will use any tool to get to the answers you need today. So we can answer all of those beautiful questions I'm sure you have that will help you make your progress. Sure. Okay. Got it. Just start, okay, and then as you may have questions, if you do, just interrupt me. Come into the ring. I love when you guys just kind of take charge. Okay, so I'll start us off. I can sense with your energy that you've got some things to really get out there to the universe. I think that, like, especially with home life, like personal, like your personal energy associated with the fourth house, I think is very good. I think that there's, in so many ways, much that you can say addressing like home life, family, and how you feel and resonate with everything around you, everyone around you. I think that this is also about what you're comfortable with, and especially, I mean, this is not even talking about like relationships. This is saying what is like, if it's speaking for the self, it's like what is blocking me. It's not like what's blocking us. It's like what's blocking me. I get that vibration. I like this energy because it does say that yes, you sometimes we can deliberately put kind of like doorways or walls in between us and others. Then and sometimes we like, well, I need to for now until I'm ready because the moment I open this channel, then I'll be connected and pulled into things, and I may not be ready right now. So I like that you're giving yourself some time, personal time for healing and for recognizing what you intend to do with your energy. That's what they're showing me. Mm, mm, mm. This beautiful vibration in terms of like focusing on self and then the home, those this is where healing, like especially restoration, because we need sometimes like we are healing, but we need rest, and that can be also on the soul level, psychic level. We need our energies just need to rest. So these things are connected, but also the sunlight vibration, right, associated with the star sign Leo, it can reach you at this time as well. That also, whereas you say that nurturing vibration comes in with the home energy, it's associated with the house, but also most importantly, when it comes to like people and connections. Now I have to say this. This is more about like like your people close by. Like it's more like my connection with maybe family, like really close friends. I sense more closer people than just, like even people, somebody close to you that whom you've made yourself estranged from for now. It feels like if there's going to be anybody, around you immediately, like it'd be more like immediate people, where you would nurture those. And you know why? They said that it's not health. It's not right energetically. It may not even feel good to be in a long distance conversation. Like if you created that distance, even to be in conversations with that person. Oh my! I believe that's with the partner. I believe like the immediate family. Those are the ones we say we have our close connections with. So like this person, you know why I can tell it's the love energy as you're healing yourself. is because it also talks about like things that it's like it's like I'm creating a space and only letting them see what I want them to see, and also this person comes through as a secret love. So it's like a person who there may be love there, but it's also kept with inside. It's like I haven't told them what I'm feeling right now. I want them to think about me, for example. So they're saying you're very much in charge of this connection that is. You said I created this distance, but for many reasons. It could be more than just healing. It could be that, well, I'm trying to get something across to them as well. And but you know what's so beautiful about this? They said that you also would create this new. I think it's a new approach to love, because sometimes it says, will I get something that I want? Will it come true? It's kind of like when we wish for things or we'll hope for things. Can I actually get what I want out of a connection? I believe so. I absolutely believe so. But you also have noticed something. Yep. Oh, I just wanted to. I could tell you're probably going to say exactly what I'm going to say. I've also felt that you might be considering opening yourself up to other experiences. Like you have your love, and you want your love to understand more about you, but there's nothing limiting you from not necessarily getting involved with anyone else, but opening up the opportunity options. It might be just a friend, who's admiring you, kind of bit. But yeah, they said there are going to be signs that you will see that you have actually manifested what you wanted. Like, do wishes come true? Like, sometimes they do. That's all I was going to share. It was like an extension to your secret love. Yes. Specifically, especially the ones regarding just like things you want for yourself are going to come true. That's right. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like slowly and steadily your wishes and your desires are actually manifesting, especially as we move into September. You will find that it's actually coming to pass. And they also gave me a very specific time date that something major is going to happen. The 17th, September 17th. Something May 2025, yes, but something major is going to happen next month, the 17th, and I believe it has something to do with like something that you are desiring finally reaching you. So, in other words, a little over 2 weeks from now. That's not too far away. And it seems to me that it definitely has something to do with like yourself having fully emerged, but having some like more deeper connection, like connections to somebody unique, somebody who's interesting. Definitely, that's in the future. Oh, go ahead. Right. Well, I get this. Well, they told me that your love will come through for you, specifically when you called out to them, specifically like when because like something that you wish that something about you that they would get, but something that you would receive, and I do believe it's with her, with her specifically. You are going to call her, but I also believe that other people are around you as well. Okay. 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 So I want to illustrate this. When you are ready to send that energy out there and you're, let's say, pulling that person in, this is somebody whom you're going to more or less bring your wishes into focus, your desires into focus. That's what they're illustrating. Well, the way that I can pick up on it is that it represents something that personal that you want specifically for yourself. That's what they worded it to me, and I think that has everything to do with your love who is distant. Is what I'm able to see. That's the way that they described it. But then furthermore, when they went on to express this, they said it's something that's personal, something that you have been wishing and desiring for yourself, but this will be the time that you'll begin to manifest it. And the person whom you're pulling towards you, that person is going to say they want this. They want this same things. They want this too. They're more or less giving you what you wished for and what you've been desiring, and because they said you're manifesting what you need, but specifically your reading starts out more or less describing everything that's regarding the home life. So it's establishing the home. Mm-hmm. The home represents. Okay, so the fifth house does represent children. The home also represents the growth of the home as well, like children and family. Right. Absolutely. So I mean, they align with what your where your mind is at, but this is also your wish and desire with your partner. That's what I wanted to clarify that. So they say like keep going, and when you're ready to open up to your partner, that's going to happen for you. In other words, hmm right. You need them to understand that. Earlier they said you were keeping him at a distance because there's some things you have to teach him. You're teaching him how to what you need him to know. You're teaching him that. And he is going to get the lesson. Hmm. Right. The way you've been dealing with it up to this point, you're getting your point across to him. Like the way that you kept him at bay, because and you don't and he doesn't know how you feel about him and what you're thinking. This is good that you put that out there like this. So you are doing the work where even as we speak now, you've been doing it. Even though you don't know what he's thinking right now, but you've gotten your point across. He's over there thinking like what's going on with her because he doesn't know, and he is worried that he's losing you, that you don't feel the same about him anymore. He is thinking those thoughts. Mm-hmm. Whenever I look to him, and I'm like they don't describe him as in a triangulated relationship. More or less they show him as part of your soul journey, but blocked. Like he's blocked from you, but he's by himself. He's not in a triangulated connection to you. Like even you, they said, yeah, there's friends and energetic options. Like I don't like I can, he's not in control. He's not the only one, but I want him, as you would say, not me, but you. Okay, and then you're bringing him to you, but these other people are like you're seeing your energy have grown and expanded. But he's the one, of course, they speak to as your lover, though. He's the lover who comes to you when you call him, and he comes to you in the way that you need him. September. We also mentioned, well, we said, well, when we like to go specifically to that time. He's the one that represents the 17th. I saw this. Oh, they wrote that number out. 17th September 2025. He's back, and he's there to fulfill your wishes in one sentence. Your desire, which sounds like like house related stuff, fifth house family, specifically children related stuff. Yes, that seems to be what's going on here. Travel seems to be something you should add that to your desires. You might want to add that to your desires too. Because it does say that he and you want to have what you call like adventures. Like you both want an adventure. Okay. Like a right. You like a or travel in your words. But here it says like the game of conquest, and it doesn't mean cheating. Like he's just sleeping with everybody, or you being having many suitors. No, it doesn't mean that at all. It definitely means something that you is connected to him as your lover, as your secret love. So it's like something like a travel experience, an excursion between he and you. That would be part of a desire. Next symbol over is, of course, the desires that come to life or wish come true. So that's definitely something like put that on the list too. Like travel, to go, a getaway together, celebrate. start the journey towards bringing in the child, things like that. These things will come to pass. So this in other words, that's a strong yes for the travel. The home life. The home life is associated with restoration, and sometimes even psychically, emotionally, rest must take place. Absolutely, like this is the best place to becoming centered and bring in the restoration or spiritual healing, but that you're ready to bring back. Well, September you will be ready to bring back the love of your life. Absolutely, a pleasure answering you guys this question. All right, both of you, bye. Yeah. Whew. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. So she's contemplating. Okay, she's got to bring back her world. Good for her. She will bring back the love. She will. It just when I said the 17th September, that's the birth date of her love. Yeah, I picked up on the birth date of her love. And of course, the conversation is about her love. And I said the 17th, specifically September 17th, she said, that's the birth date of her man. Beautiful. Now, can you do that? Can you say something specific in every reading that somebody like resonates with in a conversational tone? You know what she said? She didn't give me anything to start from. She just said, "Just read me. I just want to be read." So that was the question. We will, I never ask you a question, but I might ask, well, where would you like me to start reading? And then you might say, read my home. And then I just start reading. Well, she said, oh, just read me, just read my energy. That's all I did. So I started reading her, found out, what's going on between her love of her life, like as though she had emailed it to me, but she never had. And then I told her the birth date of her love of her life. And they do love each other, by the way. They are soulmates. So that's the level of readings that I can do. I psychic read like prophets prophesy. Like my readings are psychic prophecy. And people are like, they are disturbed, like jealous that they're not reading or not prophesying in the level that they think that they say it's not fair, you're in this class, it's not fair, you're on this team, it's not fair that you have a gift, it's not fair you get to hit back, it's not fair, uh, you get to argue back. It's not fair. You get to be a psychic. It's not fair. You get to have a great life. It's not fair. You have a nice quality of life. That's what people like. It's not fair and not fair, not fair. It's like, but they're the same people who teach that life is not fair. Life is not fair. And it's what you work for and you work hard and you obtain. So it's not fair that you work. It's not fair that you obtain the things you work for. It's like where people are coming from. And so they're realizing that this is why when you're working and working for something, it has nothing to do with the person on the outside. So the work that I do has nothing to do with the person who's maybe like who just are around. The work that I do is only between the clients and myself. It has nothing to do with anyone else. It's nothing to do with the audience. It's just only between my clients and myself. And that is something that no one should be able to even comprehend or understand, because it's only should be only ones who should be able to understand this is the client and myself, and nothing else should be allowed to come in between. Nothing else. No one else should be allowed to come in between. So that's where we are coming from. We're like saying, so you're building this 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 experience. You're having this experience with people, very specific people, not with anybody else. Like people are like, just jealous. They say it's not fair. Now it's not fair that you have the psychic gift. Well, the psychic gift is not even theirs. It's a talent and a gifting that is within myself. But they're jealous of that and saying it's not fair that I like, as though you shouldn't have that gift. It's like a person could do backflips. You shouldn't be allowed to do backflips because you do backflips. You do backflips so well, and you are able to do it. Have your autonomy. Somebody who is smart and can open up a kitchen and is successful and is growing and they're making a lot of money. It's like, oh, you shouldn't be allowed now. You shouldn't be allowed to do that because make everybody else feel like it's difficult for them to start a kitchen, their own kitchen or restaurant, and no one is even. They're not even an LLC. They can't even sell you a package of ketchup. So it's like, oh, you shouldn't be allowed to be on the mathematics team. Why? Because you too good. You know how to do the mathematics so well. So you shouldn't. That should disqualify you because of other people. Other people should be doing it, not people who look like you. That's how people come at me, and I'm like, wait, no. You work hard. You perfect at what you do. You get better at it, and you also can work with other like people who would love to work with you, see how you do it, the services. It's a gift divinely given to you to share with others. People will come and tell you that you don't deserve your gift, not deserve what you're, and also, yeah, they're telling you you don't deserve what the gift gets you, but they're also telling you that you don't even deserve your gift, your God-given gift. That means that is not Christian. That is not Christian. That is not Hinduism. That is not spiritual. That is not, super metaphysical. And you're not being super extra profound demonic. You're not being profoundly demonic by making such statements. You have as in telling Jesus Christ, they had no business giving you the beauty that you're blessed with, or the skills that you're blessed with, or the abilities that you're blessed with. You're telling the Holy Spirit, which is the giver, or the Mother Spirit, who is the giver of gifts, that she made a mistake. That she made a mistake gifting whomever the gifts, in my case, the psychic gifts, and along with other gifts, that they made a mistake. All of that. Okay. I guess you get it by now, what I'm saying. You get it. Look, my gifts are my gifts. And in spite of what people say about my gifts, I'm the one that developed them to where now I'm a light in my gifts, and I carry the torch through them, and I guide and lead people out of mazes of their mind, out of the emotional spaces where it's dark and they cannot see the path because the path is not well lit, and we find our way out and we are able to take hold of something greater than being in the dark and stumbling and lost because we are ignorant of light. That is not something we have to endure. We don't have to be lost. We don't have to be ignorant. We can read the books. You don't have to burn the books. We can read the books. Read books, don't burn books. Understand the book. And then when you understand it, write another book. Write about that book. And also cite the book. So don't forget to cite though. You gotta cite. You gotta, talk about the sources. Cite the sources. But definitely, Learn. You got to learn from those books. So reading, writing, and critical think, the three sins. Do those three sins often. Read, write, critical think. Read, write, and think. Three sins. Do them often. Hmm. Yep. You have to. You have to. Because no one else is going to tell you to do it. No one. They're going to try to tell you otherwise. They're going to tell you. They're going to try to discourage you from even, doing any of those things. But that's why on the inside, like I know inside, I'm doing exactly because it feels so divine, so godly, like godly inspired to help somebody. The feeling of actually helping someone to bring light into someone's life, something that they were pondering and they just didn't have any idea, any clue in. And now they finally can have that good conversations that bring in um, the sort of restoration that one needs to have in their world for themselves in their life. Then it happens. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I am in that place, and I'm very happy to send Adam and Eve today's Adam and Eve. I love sending you all out of the like now. Both of you go and transcend. I love saying that. You know, so I read for yes, men and women. Yeah, I read for I read for them both. I do, and they loved. I know they love to pay me for my services. They pay me, so I'm happy that they do. Yeah, they pay me for sure. Absolutely, that's what this live is about. By the way, I am paid to interact with people in their life as what you see a person. Wait a minute, you're psychic. Wait a minute, you read tarot cards. You believe in the stars. People pay me to do that with them because instead of laughing, I was reading and I was getting better at it. Now I'm so good at it that I'm accurate. For example, I mentioned the 17th, September 17th, 2025. Turns out that's the birthday of the love of her life. Like, wait a minute, how'd you get that? You know, so I say these details in readings, and I say that because I say, well, God, the guides give me details so that the person who I'm reading, my clients who's paying for the reading, knows that very specific information said a very specific way. It's whether it's when it's talking to them or about them, or it's talking about somebody else, about other people involved in their life. It gave me very specific details so we can tell who's who, tell them apart from each other. So that's the way that I read, and and I'm telling you now, I already had those conversations in the past. I said, if you all could do just a little bit remotely, what I could do, people would worship you. If I know that, I know people would worship you if you could do a little bit of what I could do. If you could do everything that I could do, people would build you. They would go out of their way. They would build you a church. They build you a church, a temple where you would come and you would descend upon the masses and you would say whatever you want to say and people would listen to you. But the thing is, you can't just call me names and say, "Oh, you have don't like somebody stated, uh don't you wish you were this so you could have that." You can't just say that. And then me give you my gift. No, you have to actually come in here or however it is or challenge me and you have to directly say, I don't think you deserve that gift because there's nothing. Everything people are saying is nothing to do with my gift. it's just a attack on me, which I don't mind. Okay, but it's more like you. I know what they're saying though. They're saying you don't deserve that gift. That gift is mine. Then you need to come and take it from out of my take it away from me. You have to take it out of my hands, however you imagine it. Snatch it from me. Then come snatch it from me. Come take it from me. I don't think you're gonna do it. I don't think you will. I'm talking mad on Twitter right now. I'm like, I have every prophecy rewritten and wrote psychic prophecy. Wrote psychic said this. And everything that I say that would happen, I went back and said this happened. And I put like prayer hands and also the angel halo emoji and like, praying for this. And I pray for what I want to see happen. Yeah, that meaning you. If you're prophesying one thing, I'm psychic predicting, prophesying another thing. My thing happens, and then now I'm praying for the thing. That means I'm praying against your prayer. You're praying for one thing, you're praying. I'm praying for another, and I'm praying against yours. But except one thing, my prayers seemingly to be answered. My prayers are being heard and answered, and my psychic predictions, prophecies, have come to pass, and I just talk about them. I can write all the characters, whatever I can afford, and put it on there and put their image and know exactly that yeah, that happened for real. You said this was gonna happen, except mine happened for real. You see what I'm saying? And if you have a problem, the fact that I have the gift, I'm saying that you've not bothered to come and actually take it from me. And calling me names isn't good enough. That's not gonna cut it. That's not gonna cut it. You calling me names or saying what I deserve, tell me I don't deserve this. That doesn't. That's not keeping people from calling me. People are still calling me and paying me to read for them. Okay, all right. Good. So now I think okay we can. I think we can be cool now, right? We understand. So that's what I'm doing with my channel. I'm creating a space where I can continue my work. And remember, I'm not bound by contracts at my YouTube. I mean, I want to maintain the professionalism, but now on my contracts, like I ain't gonna be cussing you out, obviously. But on YouTube, I'm not gonna cuss you out either, right? Because I don't like you. I hate saying cuss words, and I've been allowed to cuss all my life. Well, since age 10, but I don't even use them. I don't even use them, but I've been allowed to do it since 10. So I know that they exist. And if I do it, that's when I'm being funny. But I'll do it for that minute, and then we'll have a laugh, and then I move on. And probably, it's like it's even more embarrassing to say those words again. So the more times I like use them, and for entertainment and to be funny, then next time I think about it, it's like I'm even more hesitant now. Now I'm thinking, don't use those words. Don't say it. Don't use those words. So, you know, um, so yeah, there's just a lot that's um, yeah, that we're able to more or less talk about, more or less. Yeah, so there's just so much to talk about. So my clients, they reached out and they were so happy. They were like, whoa, like how did you pick up on the fact that my love's birthday? So yeah, so I said it's the 17th, and they also showed me September 17th, 2025. They said that's the birthday of my love. How did like what is going on here? So whenever I did that, so every time that I read a person, I'm able to pick up very specific pieces of information and give that information to someone. So the person who I'm reading. So in this case with my clients. So I'm reading with my clients, and my clients are getting very interesting information that's very specific, that aligns with their progress so far as like healing. She's wanting to start her family. So they're starting their family there, which is about the house. By the way, she didn't tell me what to talk about. She said, I just want you to read me. That's all she said. She didn't say like first of all, I've never asked questions. So when my clients call me, I don't say, "What do you want to talk about today?" or "Do you have a question today?" I mean, I sometimes do it, but sometimes people will say because they'll say like, "Well, I just want to hear about what you have to say." Or I want to hear about my work, and then I just start reading. But the things that I say after they say that one word that they want me to talk about, work or relationships or my ex or my current love, I read and exactly everything I say all the time is exactly in conversational tone is exactly what they're experiencing, what they're going through. And in this reading, I specifically said the 17th. The 17th is their love's birthday. So I picked up on like the person before the person told me, I said, you should put this on your resume. And she goes on to say, they contacted me like 2 days ago and said, after I said that, they said, yeah, 2 days ago they contacted me and said I should they asked me specifically about this so they can incorporate it into my resume. So I pick up, so in a conversational tone, I tell what's going on with a person in the person's life, what's going on in the past, what's going on in the future, things that they're going to celebrate in the future. Very specific pieces of information. So that's what I'm able to. That's how my gift, my gifts allows me to do. And then people look, coming in, they're saying, well, you don't deserve that gift, or that the gift is not yours. Well, I'm saying, come and take the gift from me, however you imagine it. Come take the gift from my hands. I'm posting on my Twitter and celebrating on Twitter my predictions, which is opposite of your prophecies. I'm praying in my predictions, so that means I'm praying against your prophecies or I'm praying against your prayers. So right there, like in that in that connection, that intersection, you should be saying, "Hey, I take issue with what you're talking about," and calling me names and trying to come in the name of your thoughts of what the universe is or represents is not good enough for me. I want better. You have to include sources and a scripture. If you're going to say something, I'm making you incorporate scripture or incorporate, you don't have to write out the scripture, but you have to incorporate the source and you have to create the citation. That means you have to add, you can be like, if it's Isaiah, you just put ISA and you put chapter 43, and then you put the verse 3. You have to write it like that. If you're just gonna write stuff, I'm gonna kick it because this is blah blah blah. And yeah, and you're speaking presumptuously. Like they say, prophets speak presumptuously, and that means I have not sent them. That is speaking presumptuously. So you're just speaking out the side of your mouth. So I'm just gonna block it. But if you want me to read it, if you're gonna say something, anything about God, add the scripture and add the chapter and add the name of the book, and then I will read it. Okay, that's why I kicked those. I didn't kick it to be mean to you. It's just that if you're gonna do it, you know, look who's back. I'm okay with that. But that other stuff, that's just you. That's just you. Blah blah. That's you just talking. If you really was trying to, uh, be helpful, you would have included the book, the chapter, the scripture, and then that I will let you get away with. But oh yeah, and please don't just come in and just type in a scripture like uh, where to go, like the name of the book, the chapter. You got to add something like got to say something, but you don't need to like quote the scripture. I mean, you can quote the scripture, but don't waste words. Like just say what you intend to say, but let me know like where you coming from. So add the name, the scripture, and the chapter. The Just add the name, the chapter, and the verse, and I will go look it up from there. Okay? So I wasn't being mean. I'm just saying, just, like, do that. I'm not blocking you, but you got to be more real. Yeah. Come at me like that, but I'm not going to read this other stuff. I'm not reading that. Yeah. I don't want to hear blah blah blah. Like, you got to challenge me for real. Like, that's not, you got to challenge me head on, because I'm challenging you head on. So I want you to be spiritual adult, and by the way, spiritual adults, not spiritual children. Spiritual adults pay me to work with them. So, like, they're accountable, they're responsible for their psychic readings, and they pay for their psychic readings, not spiritual children or spiritual teens. So yeah, they're spiritual infants. So, but although I am creating, where I can work with everybody, regardless of the stage of spirituality that you're in. And by the way, I hope everybody is an adult, but nonetheless, the information is useful. It's educational information only. This is not. I know people want to come in and create, a sinful channel atmosphere, but I'm not going to allow that. So this is a safe space, for growth and healing, but specifically, this is for, I would say, pretty much is for adults, because we can have adult conversation. But so far, like, spiritually, I mean, spiritually, yes, adults can be spiritual children, they can be spiritual infants, spiritual teens, and also they be spiritual adults, can be spiritual adults as well, therefore. And what is a spiritual adult? Again, spiritual adults are very responsible, and they are accountable, and they also, yes, they pay for their readings. So they don't just come in and start demanding things and trying to be sassy with me, the psychic. They're very, at least they don't have to be like super polite, but they are like, they speak conversationally. They speak with me. They're not speaking at me, and they tend to be, for the most part, friendly, considering it's professional service. And they ask any question that they want. I help them to feel like they can talk with me about anything. They can ask me anything, and if I'm comfortable with it, I'll answer it the best to my abilities, or I'll word it in my own special way. So, that's how I like to, work, working with, again, spiritual adults. Um, that's important because, yes, number one, they are paying for the readings. It's a paid reading. And two, they're just responsible, and they take accountability for their readings. So that's why I like working with spiritual adults, particularly. I love adults generally, but spiritually adults. That's why. Yeah. So that means, so if you want to take my gift, you have to, like, come in, fight me for that. Like, you should better come in and, like, use sources and cite, and this is why you I don't like psychics, and but you should also be able to back it up with something useful, not just, name calling and saying that, don't I wish I was this or that, or no, that is not good enough. You have to, like, say, I don't like psychics because, like, I don't like prophets because they're wrong. For prophets, that seems impossible. So that's why I don't like prophets. That's why I don't believe that people are prophets, because prophets are correct. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about prophets that are correct. I'm talking about prophets who are not correct. So that's who I'm challenging. So, but you call them prophets anyway. So I'm saying prophets are incorrect, still get to be called prophets. And that's why I don't like them, because their information or prophecies are incorrect. You would say, well, I don't like psychics. Why? Because psychics, and you say specifically what you think a psychic is. Now that would be useful information. Then I could either agree with you, and trust me, though I am biased when it comes to my work, specifically myself as a psychic, only speaking for myself, I am biased because fortunately, I'm in a place where I can also disagree with other psychics. Other psychics don't want anything association with anything mystical. Like they don't want to claim God, and they may not even like God as in Abrahamic God or Jesus Christ. And so, in that sense, yes, I will actually disagree with that psychic. So, or psychics that don't like Bhagavad Gita or have, like or psychics that want to speak about the Bible and then have some kind of, to me, it sounds like a messed up version of explaining what certain scriptures mean. And I know that that's not what they mean. So I don't, so I will disagree with those psychics in that sense. Likewise, I disagree with pastors. Doesn't matter which level of pastor, um, or like people who minister the Bible. Also, well, obviously prophets who minister the. Sometimes I don't even hear ministering the Bible from prophets. I just hear them prophesying. No ministering of scriptures of any kind. Not even like paraphrasing. Not even a paraphrase. Just straight up, just like like uh, their conversation. That's it. Just whatever they want to say. No scriptures, nothing. Just straight up. So, but then but no, I have no problem with that. If it was right, if the information, I'm only looking at the fact that my psychic predictions are more real than my issue. That's my issue. Why do psychic predictions come to pass, but prophecies don't? That's what I'm saying. I don't want anything from those prophets, not at all. I want all my readings to be accurate. So that means you should be able to say something specific. Whether if you think that, well, prophets are idol worshippers, because that's why I don't like. Excuse me, psychics. I don't like psychics because they are idol worshippers. I mean, like, give us something. Like psychics, I don't like psychics because they twist words around and make it appear that they know what they're talking about. You could pick a lot of things out, but just simply because, like you are, you know, you might be a bit of a, like really into, you might be into psychics in some weird way, and so you kind of play with you flirt around the idea um, of the Bible, for example. You play around with words like catchwords, like some people use derogatory terms. You use the Bible in derogatory ways, like the same tone that you use derogatory words um, is the same is this is the same way but you use the Bible for that. So yeah, I don't like either one of them. I don't like either one of them. Um, hold on. Um, hold on. Words um, for, let me see. Mm-hmm. Epithets. That's the word I'm looking for. You use uh, epithets the same way that you use epithets for people. You use Bible catchwords as epithets, and I don't like that. Like, that the way you tone wise that you say God, the way you say Jesus is at the same level and energized to be used as epithets. And I think that it also should be a sin. That should be included. Yeah, I don't like the fact that you use the Bible words as epithets. An epithet definition means, hold on. It says an epithet is a descriptive term or phrase that characterizes person, place, or thing, often used to highlight specific qualities. It can accompany or replace a name, serving as by name or descriptive title, um, like a racial epithet. That's the way I intended it to be. A racial epithet. His stubbornness earned him the epithet Senator No. So we're talking about racial epithet. Yeah, you use the Bible and catch terms like God, Jesus, and so forth on. Jesus loves you as racial epithet energetically. An adjective, okay, epithet, an adjective added to a person's name or a phrase used instead of it, usually to criticize a person, but it can also be used to praise a person. But it says a epithet, a word or phrase used to describe someone, often as an insult. That's what I'm talking about. A racial epithet. His stubbornness earned him the epithet Senator No. That's the one. Um, epithet in some, while quasi indicators are intrinsically opaque, epithets are intrinsically transparent. So very blatant, by the way. Non-human animal epithets insult humans by invoking contempt for other species: rat, worm, viper, goose, Jesus, God, racial epithets. That's what you to be insulting epithet as an insult. That's what I disagree with. Like, yeah, I don't want to tolerate that. Like, so yeah, I kicked it off because you're using epithets to be insulting by saying Jesus loves you, because you know that that is an epithet. You're not you it's you're using it as to be insulting. That's why I kicked it. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that should be. I know it's a sin. It's definitely it's gotta be. It's gotta be a sin. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here. That's what it is. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you go. All I said was, you know, don't use the Bible words as epithets to be insulting, please. This, you know, just come in, be cool, like say something useful. Um, you're you using those words out of jealousy just because you're green. That is something that we have to talk about. You know, just because you're green, that doesn't mean you get to use uh, not even, especially those words, to create epithets or insulting words. Use them in use those words that's supposed to be of light in an insulting way, trying to be insulting as derogatory. So yeah, that spirit of derogatory. Yes, you have a derogatory spirit, spirit of infidelity and idolatry. So we had to kick it. We had to kick you off Um, mm-hmm. So, which that is good. Obviously, um, there's not much that you could say beyond that because other, this is the truth. So you had to run off. Okay, but that's okay that you ran off. It's okay. I've already, pulled my weight today, so I've already done really well, and I've already done well in this live. I've done pretty good in this live considering we're growing, and I defended my territory. So, um, yeah, I know the title is making people cry, and that's what I want. I intended it that way. So yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, people, be a little, if you can be a little jealous. That's okay, or a whole lot of jealous. This is what it is, and people are going to cry, I guess, which is okay. And now that we have the proper explanation of what you're doing, you know, we can call that out. You know, your spirit, you're speaking, being insulting and speaking, using those words as epithets. Yeah, you're using those words that are meant to be of light as epithets. Mm-hmm. And so we spoke about it. So yeah, so now the energy is on you. The energy is on you, not me. You're the one speaking like that. You're speaking epithets. People using beautiful words that were intended to help people as epithets. What's wrong with you? Are you that jealous of the get? Well, of course you are. Uh, that was a rhetorical question. But yeah, you're using biblical words, words that are meant to be of light as insults and epithets. You sound worse. You sound just as equal the same as using racial epithets, but instead you're saying, the words of like Jesus Christ and Jesus loves you and He loves you and and sounding twisted and homogeneous and coming off energetically, that's insulting and epithet. It's epithets, insulting, insult epithets or racial epithets energetically, and we're not standing for it. I just like cleared it out, and I kept your good one though. But yeah, if you want to write scripture, that's fine, but include whatever you're trying to say, but add the name of the book, the chapter of the book, and the verse of the book. Yeah, add that. Don't just come in and just be, because it's on the energy of epithets. Because, like what you say, like okay, you're speaking those words, but your heart is jealous. We as psychic, we're sensitive. We're sensing your everything about it. Like so. Yeah, you can't hide that. It's backed by the energy. Talk about love. Your jealous heart talk about love. Are you kidding me? Then you have you you want to say that he loves you. No, that is coming from your, that's what they call it, presumptuously out of your own heart. That is, you're presuming. He didn't say that. He didn't say that today. He didn't ask you to come in here and say that. You're presumptuously speaking out of your own heart. That's what they say. Prophets who presumptuously speak out of their own hearts, I never sent them. He did not get some. If I'm a medium and I speak to spirits, the spirit can tell me. He could tell me if it is true. The spirit can tell me themselves. Don't need you. That goes along with, I don't need a priest to speak for me or to intermediate for me. You all are trying to be priests, try to be more than what you're called to be. The only law that is no longer, that is not for us in the 20th century is a law. The only law that was dealt away with, the only law that was put away with, is you as a priest. So I don't need you coming in as a priest to tell me anything what Spirit said. Because being who I speak with Spirit, the Spirit should better tell me. No, you're speaking presumptuously out of your own heart. And as a sensitive and one who actually speaks with Spirit, know that you're speaking from jealousy. And not only that, you're also speaking insult, epithet, or racial epithet, using under the guise of, all of the words that are supposed to be words of light. So we just called it out for what it is. And yeah, and I'm connected with now I did a lot of spiritual work today. I did spiritual work and I work with my clients. My clients are spiritual adults. They're responsible adults, responsible for their readings. They're accountable for the readings, and they paid for the readings. That's what makes them spiritual adults. So yeah. So there you go. And anytime you want to talk about anything like that, you need to include the chapter, the book. You need to include the book, the chapter, and the verse. Now, if you would include the book, the chapter, and the verse, maybe it would have cooled some of that energy off. Maybe take some of your energy out of it. But yeah, it's very homogeneous. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this homogeneous thing you've got going on in my chat box, that's not gonna. Today is not the day for it because I'm gonna kick it unless you add the book, the chapter, the verse, and it can't be like, and you can't just be like blah blah blah, and that's not gonna pass. I mean, you can ask questions and you can like these gonna be straight communicator, and not be weird. That's good, fine. We can have a regular conversation, but if you need to go round and round and use using the good book as epithets or insults or racial epithet, that I'm gonna kick it. I'm gonna kick it because it has no intellectual uh, value. It does not have if it does not have any intellectual value, I kick it. I'm kicking it. So make sure that it has add intellectual value to whatever. If you insult, add intellectual value, and then I might actually read like where you're coming from, even though it's insulting. I still might read it, but if it has no intellectual value whatsoever, I'm not reading it at all. I'm just gonna kick it. So yeah. Yeah, you have to add intellectual value to anything that you say in here. Otherwise, I'm kicking it. Yeah, I'll kick it. All right. If it's speaking presumptuously, I'm kicking it. So if you're a prophet, come in here, you're speaking presumptuously, I'm kicking it. If you don't add scripture, you don't add book, chapter, verse, I'm kicking it. If it's about scriptures. If you are speaking epithets, insulting epithets, or racial epithets, I'm kicking it. Now, you can ask questions like, what are my thoughts on uh, Trump and black women? You can ask that. But you can't be like, like anything that's, again, that is descriptive about any race of people, and it's baseless and unfounded, and there's no source and no citation. I'm kicking it, and I'm probably going to kick it and then block you. So yeah, if you don't have no intellectual value, you just want to be mean, you want to be jealous hearted spirit, I'm kicking you. So there you go. All right. And I want to write some of this fancy language I'm using today. I'm gonna go ahead and write this on down. All right, we said presumptuous prophet is not tolerated. Epithets, insulting ones are not tolerated. Okay, and that's insulting ones are not tolerated. Uh, um, what else? The insults, oh yeah, and the racial ones are not tolerated. No, Bible usage, Bible usage, and no name of book, chapter, and verse is not allowed. Um, and there was another one. Oh, yeah, no intellectual value. No intellectual value. That's also, this is going to be the rules of the room. Nothing intellectual value, just, so, no jealous, spirited. I know I should use the word envy. Jealous is the good one. Okay, so you're envious, not jealous. Jealous is the good one. Envious, spirited uh, person, spirited, hearted person is also a no go. Yeah, we kick you. Yeah, yeah, no, none of that. We don't want no envious. Okay, we don't want to use jealous anymore. Jealous is a good one, so don't use that no more. The gods are jealous. Yes, that means something wrong. That means something wrong, and you pick up on it. So that's a good one. But envious, that's the one nobody, they never claim envious. And that's the one that's the deadly sin, not jealousy. Jealousy is good. Because jealous means something is wrong. Your Mother Nature gave us a radar that lets us know when something's wrong. That's jealous. Like your eye go like this, you know something up, and you're like, why? I can't quite put my finger on it. Oh, you're just being jealous. Yeah, something wrong. Something's wrong. You right, something is up. Then it comes out later, and you're like, I should have listened to my instincts. Now, envious, that's when you want something so bad that you would hurt their livelihood, which means to hurt them. That's death. So envious, spirited, hearted people, we don't want them. So no envious, spirited, hearted people, no intellectual value, uh, Bible usage, no name of the book, no chapter, no verse. That's not good. Epithets, insults, and insult epithets and racial epithets. That's not good. And presumptuous prophets. That's not good. So those are the lists. We don't want that. We don't want that. Don't need that. So that goes on a list. So like when you say, so what's the rules for your room? That's all of those are gonna be in. Those are the rules for this room. Yeah, we're gonna write that into the rules. Like read the rules as you coming in. Yeah, yeah, in this spiritual space, so that then I can, you know, I can clock it, and you like, oh, that's because of the rules. So you now have to be burnt, like, and or I'll always like, um, kind of like post the rules. Will the rules always post? I don't know. But I can write them in the description box where it always shows up, or I can always just write it into um, the chat box, and then put it at the top so people can read the rules. Like always, kind of like what they call it. I don't know if I remember to do it every single time, but I can write it in the chat box and then pin it. That's what I mean. Pin it at the top, and then people just can read, like when they're coming in, like, hey, like, don't come in here being presumptuous. Yeah, so yeah, don't be presumptuous. That's one of the rules. Don't be a presumptuous prophet. Uh, don't use insult epithets and racial epithets, or use the Bible as insulting epithets or racial epithets. Bible usage, no name of the book, no chapter of the book, no verse of the book. Definitely, that's a no go. Don't do that. No intellectual value. Yeah, don't do that. Don't offer information that's not intellectual value. So don't just come in here and be the next one. Envious spirited, spirited hearted people. So don't be envious spirited hearted. No intellectual value. Yeah, don't do either of those, but both of those are connected. Yeah. So those are gonna be the rules of the land. That's gonna be the rules of my channel. I'm gonna incorporate that in the description box. And then hopefully as you're coming in, you'll read it. You'll read it and you'll know what it says. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, but you can still say what you say, but you have to add intellectual value to what you're saying. So then I can read it. Okay. You can't just be like a whole strewn of insult epithets. You can't just be like epithet, insulting epithet, racial lace epithet, and call it Bible. You can't do that in here because I will definitely kick it. So yeah, but you can, if you add sources and citation, it might pass. So we actually might look at it. It's more likely we'll look at it if you add citation and source. So we're not saying, so you mean, you trying to get rid of hate? No, I'm just saying that you have to add intellectual value. Yeah, be more than just, what do you call it? Was it, yeah, be more than just envious. Be intellectually envious. Be an envious intellectual. I might be envious, but I'm an intellectual. So yeah, we want that. Jealousy is the good one. The gods, they get jealous, but they don't get envious. And envy is the deadly sin, not jealousy. Jealousy is not the deadly sin. So we were saying it wrong in the start because that was kind of where we were going, but we revised. We were saying jealous intellectual, but it's actually envious intellectual. So it's supposed to gotta use the word envious. So yeah, you can't just be mean, like just be envious. Not about being mean or being nice. I'm talking about envious, spirited, hearted. You can't just channel that in here. I don't want you just people come in here just channeling that energy. No, add intellectual to it. Add intellectual value. Leave us something of value intellectually. I mean, because then we can learn together. We can learn what you're coming from, and maybe you might learn something. Maybe it's a matter of expanding. And maybe your mind is narrow, but maybe you're right. You could be right too. But how do we know if you're like a narrow-minded person or a book burner? You could be here wanting to burn books. Who knows? Throw all the books in the dumpster. Then you set the dumpster from the inside on fire. You could be that, or throw all the books in the furnace, and so that we're not breaking any laws here. You throw the books in the furnace, and then you use the furnace for materials to burn, for fuel. You know, so yeah, we're saying no, no. Instead of burning the book or cutting them up, just say, look, I know what I'm going to say, and here it is, and this is why. Yeah, use that, and I think that we will probably keep that up. We won't delete that one, but the rest of them, the other stuff, definitely we're not going to leave that lingering about, because for many reasons. Where do you want me to start? I mean, there's a lot of words, creative words I've come up with. Like, this is not a toilet. Like, don't number one and number two. And everything you do, one and two, don't leave it behind. Take it with you. So there you go. We found out. Yeah, we've already talked about this earlier. So there's creative ways to say it at the moment. Just letting you all know. And all the while still loving everybody. Everybody, I still love you. My clients, I'm talking to my clients. I apologize. I don't mean that uh, for everybody. That's not for everybody. But yes, I do love my clients, and I'm still here for you all. I'm still very much supportive. I know this conversation, or the title of this live, is taboo. Oh my gosh, how dare you get paid? But the whole point of being a psychic is for profit. And um, so that means you all push me to have to be blunt. So by not being very friendly. So I'm just kind of returning the energy. Yeah. So don't ever think that I'm not okay, because I am okay. So I just want to kind of point out that um, that we are in a good way. Oh yeah, we don't need this one. There, we don't need that. The other ones we can keep. My clients are doing well, so my clients are doing well. They're seemingly doing some like marvelous things. So I want to continue to bring healing and light into their world and life. And they seem to be in a good way. Enjoying the world about, making wonderful progress, bringing about healing, helping people to get to these charted territories. They're on their way there, and they want these wonderful things in store for them to happen themselves to happen. And I want to be there every step of the way. I want to see my clients' lives unravel and their dreams come true, and they feel good about what they're experiencing. I want to be here to hear those things coming from them. My clients are doing wonderful, and they're moving in the right way. They really are. So it's all coming past. And we're going to continue to be supportive in every way we can. We want, people to grow and transcend. Those are important things for us to experience. And when I hear about it, that's actually when I celebrate. People say, "Aren't you going to celebrate?" No, I'm not celebrating because like my predictions come to pass. I'm not surprised about that any more than you are. No, I celebrate when fully that you're on the journey and the path you're wanting to go, and you say, finally, you've arrived. That's when I celebrate. When beyond, no matter what, and the beyond, you now are only able to receive the fullness of your world, of the life you wish to lead. That is when I celebrate. I wait and celebrate. And then we celebrate together. So I love when my predictions come true, but I really love when the fullness of my psychic predictions come to pass. And people are at such a high level that they feel transcended, like nothing can hold them down any longer. That's when I start to celebrate. So, and that means I love every aspect of the journey. The closer that they get to complete liberation, that's as close as I get to fully celebrating, genuinely celebrating with them, not the absence of them, but with them. So it's not me celebrating my wins necessarily. It's that I'm celebrating life. So that's the way that I like to read. And that's also how I enjoy the reads. Like when the people are doing well, they're doing well, their family is doing well, and their employers or people who they're working with are doing excellent. That's worth celebrating. Celebrate life. It's celebrate the motion in which life is taking place. And then you realize that's what it's about. That's actually spiritual. Spirituality isn't, oh, I've got predictions right. When that person is completely unlocked, or unlocked the doors of their future, that means life is going to come in and thrive. Like they're continuing to experience life and they have a zeal, a desire to live more because they want to see and experience more. Therefore, they're representing life. They're celebrating being in devotion, even worshiping, even being a ritual, like go along with the rituals of life. So that's when I begin to celebrate life, is what I'm saying. That's what I do. That's what I'm saying, focus on. That should be your focus. And, and yes, all kinds of words, like people saying, they love me, I love them, we're good friends and we part with good hearts. And we just want people to, want you to succeed. I want you to have a great weekend, you know. And these are people, who really care about their lives. And hence, I really care about their lives. And hence, I celebrate life. So, yeah. So that's what makes my journey, what makes our journey together, my clients and makes our journey spiritual. And that's why, I'm, like, okay, people come in. I already told everybody, don't come in at number one and number two. No, you take it with you and don't leave it behind. It goes with you. So I'm saying this is not it. This is not your toilet, right? My channel is not your toilet. So so people say, so how are you? Well, my clients are fantastic. Just saying that without saying all the love every day, being told how much I am loved by my clients themselves, personalizing it. I love you, you know, is the 11th commandment. So love one another, love ye one another. So, and, and I know that's coming from their soul, from their heart. That's worth like shoving off everything else. It's worth, like, I don't care about anything and nothing, and also every other thing. I don't care about any of that. For this, it is spiritual. This is the spiritual path. I am creating the space on my YouTube, and it's going to become that, definitely. YouTube will become the place where there's, the universal 11th command, 1111, can be expressed. It will come a time, but right now, I'm doing a little bit of clearing, and we, like, as you say, getting to know each other's personality. So people, I guess, will have me pegged, and I'll have them pegged, and I love the fact that, people are beginning to interact and, be kind and nice, or just be their true selves, be mean and envious spirited hearted, but at the same time, that, but wait a minute, how is this not impact? That's because this this comes from within here. It doesn't come. I never needed anything or anyone or place outside of here. It's in here. So I am burning up in here, not that is in here, or that, or this exists because of that out there. It all in here is connected to wherever I want it to connect. In this sense, here, my clients. And that is my spiritual path. That is my experience. So all of this, that goes to show how little value that all this that is. So that's why. So that's, yeah. Not hollowness. No hollow. I'm filled from within. No hollow sounds. No hollow sounds. Mm. And it feels good. It feels absolutely good on the inside. It does. To know that. That means it just, you burn up as far as deepest conversations, the kind of conversations that come through here. You just burn up with with the spirituality path of love. You could say that. You could absolutely say that. So then who has it right? Because, my path is not, like, I'm not saying these words out of envy. Like, it's no envy vibration, or I'm not, as you say, jealous. Envy is envy. I'm not envious of anyone, and I'm connected in a genuine way to my, people who need me, which are, in this case, my clients need me. So it's not more than just being attentive here, but I mean, like, involved, spiritually and psychically involved. So that's how I'm on this spiritual path, and it's not me saying I can feel your energy and pull your energy and connect with your energy, and then I start to live life. No, that's not even nothing I ever would even do. I never would work like that. That's not even how I generate. No, it's within me, and then I channel it to, like, in my psychic readings. So when I connect with a person, I am genuinely understanding what that person's going through, and love gets, this energy gets created, whether it's out of love or just out of just wanting to help that person become stronger, better versions of themselves. Um, and the readings are meant to be great. It's meant to where people, like, even after they pay for the reading, they pay for the reading and they want to, like, get 5 stars and leave wonderful testimonials, right? So that's how I work. That's how it works. But yeah, love from within. Don't let anyone take your love, because people try to cut you off from love. You need to stay connected with your love, because the moment they cut you off from love and you start relying on them for love, then now you're becoming their puppet. Don't be a puppet. Don't be anyone's puppet for love, or puppy for love. You know, where you're kind of like the puppy. You're jumping up and down when you see them, or like you are a puppet. They're able to control you. Like a puppet. With strings for like love, the way that they caretake you, nurture you. Don't do that. When you understand, I know this is a big spiritual thing that even my clients, it takes me a while to get the clients to think this way. It's not an easy process, so I'm not going to be too challenging on this one, because I know it's not easy. Very brilliant people don't even have this. They go by the whole, like, create space for other people type, and then that's love, but that's not love. Love comes from within, and they have their own love, like, or that person has their own love, and you have your own love. And when you learn to love and let your love burn within, then you connect with other people's who can receive love, because before you can have those, as you say, love or riches, you have to be able to receive it yourself, receive it and then share it. But the one who should be receiving that love is the person. You have to receive love first. Then you can share your love with others as you see fit in a healthy way. But if you're like always negating love and love within yourself, but yet you crave love, as they say, mortals are social creatures. You start pulling in other people's love, and it's like, as long as you're connected with other people, you feel love. Or as long as you're doing things for people, you feel love. As long as you're cooking for people who didn't ask you to cook for them, by the way, you love. As long as that person, acts like they want to mate with you, you love. You feel loved. Or call you, after, if they ignore you and you no longer have that connection with them, you don't feel love. When in actuality, you should feel love from within yourself, even if they're not present. So I know that's a very difficult spiritual teaching, but it's a very real serious. It's a very serious teaching. But that's the kind of spirituality concerning love that I follow. When you say, well, what are your thoughts about love, or universal love? I would say, when you have understood that your love, as they say, love from the inside, start from the love from the inside, charity, which is love, as they say. What is charity? Right? Above, if I not have charity, I can speak to the angels, but if I not have charity or love for others, what's the whole point? What's the point of it? That the love of charity is the greatest of the gifts, is the greatest gift you can give to someone, beyond even speaking with angels, and ministering, prophesying, as prophets give gifts to people. Prophets can, what do you call it? it? Um, like through intercessory impart. They impart gifts to people. Prophets can. So the greatest of the gift is charity, which is charity bring. It says that there's a combination of two things that create charity. Peace and love equals charity. So when you give charity, meaning peace and love to someone, that's the art of giving love to someone like another nation or outside love outside yourself, beyond love yourself. But so if you can, they say charity starts at home. Now we can say charity starts at home first. In other words, when they say help yourself first, then you can help others. Now change help into love. If you help someone, you're doing it out of love. Hopefully, that's charity. Help is charity as well. So, like being there when someone needs you, strangers when they need you, that you help them. Well, you do that out of love, right? So, love is the basis in which you would do something like that. Or universal, how can I love a stranger? Universal love. Or the 11th commandment, love one another, love you one another. The 11:11. So you start to say, oh, I get it. So, peace and charity will bring about love, will bring about charity, which is love, and then you have love on the inside, and then you're giving that love on the inside, and there you have it. Love starts at home, charity starts at home, and you love yourself, then you can learn to love others. But you learn to love others more successfully, beneficially, more healthy love, because you know what love is, you know what love feels like, and what love isn't. So anybody who tries to give you love, something that they call love, but it's not love, for example, like when people try to tell you themselves that guess who they heard loves you, and they're gonna tell you that what like look, I don't want to hear anything. Don't gossip, please don't gossip. Don't tell me anything that you heard. I don't want to hear it. Trying to tell you, guess who loves you today? Gossip. And and spiritual gossip, the same thing. It's like if that person wanted you to know, or that spirit wanted you to know, that spirit would tell you, because you talk with the spirit. That hence I was saying, and I know people hate this, and especially people who think opposite of this, but the only law that we abandoned, that we no longer utilize, that we need a mediator, like a priest, to tell us or to communicate with us for us. Meaning you're not allowed to communicate with spirit. They are, because they're the priests, and they tell you what the priests tell you what spirit said. That is the law that was abandoned. We don't have to do that anymore, because that rule for that law represents mortal encounter, because you need in order for the intercession to work, you need blood, and that's no longer a requirement. The blood or the physical interaction between two, the intimate interaction of creating the the body of the blood that comes from the body, that's no longer needed. And what it applies to specifically is the priest's job to speak on behalf of you. And that the only law that was eliminated is the fact that we don't need a priest to mediate, meaning you don't need to tell me anything. My conversation between spirit and I is already fulfilled. You can hush now. You give yourself a break. So if you were Aaron, but you're not, there's Aaron and there's you. You would say, Aaron, you can rest now. You've done your job, and you've done your job well. He was the favored of priests, favored. So people are running around wanting to be Aaron, and they're like, guess what? Guess what? They want to be mediums. Actually, they want to be mediums, but it's like, who's the easiest spirit to talk to? Well, like Oh, like it's like Mikey. Mikey's always hungry. Mikey eats anything. Why you want to put bets on Mikey that this is good? Mikey will eat anything. You remember that commercial? But Mikey will. Why you gonna let Mikey do the food test? Mikey eat anything. You know, Mikey eats anything. Mikey says everything is good. So, so oh gosh. So you don't. So no. Any like no thanks. But I have a personal, unique conversation that no one else has, that I have, and that spirit and I have, that no one else knows what we talk about, and that may be not even your conversation. That brings up stuff that you haven't even, that you're not even, that's not even what we are talking about. You were way off. Like, get out of here. So yeah. So in other words, end quote. Quote me on that. So yeah, yeah. So that's why I had to include, part of the rules is no using like insulting epithets spiritually, and racial epithets spiritually. No using hide the good book, and using the lights, the words that are of light, to sort of shroud the insult, or that are actually epithets and racial epithet. So no, you can say what you want. You can be in disagreement. Even insulting, but include the book. You have to include the chapter and the verse, and then we it's more likely we'll read where you're coming from. But if it's just epithets, spiritual epithets, and insults, and racial epithets, I'm just gonna just remove it. Okay. Oh yeah. So besides all that, yeah, yeah, it's about, staying connected with love. So if you're vibrating right, and you're like in love with spirit, and then you got somebody come along and saying, "Guess what, spirit?" You like, at some point you like the same as if you're in love with your husband and your spouse and your wife, and somebody's coming up and telling you, guess what your spouse told me. The first thing you want to do, the first reaction. I see some people already clenching their fists. They're about to already like send them to the moon. I know that's what you want to. I send them to the moon quick. Before you forget, before you chicken out, right? We don't want to chicken out, so we gotta like act when we get the impulse to do it. Like, don't do that. Like, don't speak on behalf. You don't talk. When you gonna talk to them? Don't talk to them. I don't care. Don't tell me what they said. Don't even talk to them. Don't even tell me you talking to them. That's the same way, same energy when you're like, I'm connected with spirit, and so everybody's trying to tell you what does spirit tell you that spirit can't tell me, or what does spirit tell you that spirit should have told me. Because since we've done away with that one, just one, very specific law outlining that you don't need to tell me anything. Spirit tell me. And what was Spirit working through you to tell me anything isn't that. I know for a fact that's not even practical. That's not science. That doesn't make sense. So he's not going to tell you to tell me something like that, because that's like whack. So yeah, that's whack like crack. Crack is whack. So okay, and like anything else, fentanyl is whack too, and all of it's whack. Yeah, I don't think I can. I'm not brave enough to say that dark beer is whack. I'm not gonna say. I'm not claiming that. I'm a work in progress, but I can definitely say opioid is whack. Fentanyl is whack. and crack is whack. I can say all that, and everything else, all like anything like that is whack. I can say that, but I'm not. Now I haven't since so 2019 is when exactly I know the date. It was 2019 uh, 19. So hold on, it was December 19th, 2020 19, or is it 20 or 2020? No, yeah, it was 2019 because the pandemic hit 2 weeks later. Spirit told me, I heard Spirit's voice say, stop. No more, don't go out for, don't drink, and not even one. Stop drinking. Even, which I wasn't drinking like that anyway. I'm talking about literally, like social drinking, like literally like you go to a nice place, you sit down and you eat and you order a dark beer or whatever. I stopped when I heard Spirit say that and I heard it out loud, like somebody saying it out loud. I stopped, and I haven't touched it since. And it's now 20. It's August 29th, 2025. So it's been 5 years. It's been 5 years of coming. I haven't touched not one thing, and I won't touch it unless if Spirit gives me the okay. I will trust and believe. I love dark beer, but Spirit said distinctly, it was 2 weeks before, they said, stop drinking, don't, no more social drinking. And so, yeah. And my gifts are reigning superior. So I'm sharp of mind, and every now and when, I'm telling you, I do feel very high, like energetic. Like I do the whole. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys. You have heard, if you've heard me in some lives, I said, you guys, I feel like I've just had the biggest drink in my life right now. Like I feel really good, and yeah, and it's all of that is like spiritually, as they say, spiritually intoxicating. Sometimes spirit is. They also call it. I experience nirvana of sorts, like a nirvana, hmm a bliss. I experience the bliss of spirituality. So I think that's correct. Yeah, that is correct. It's like the bliss. Also, when they talk about nirvana, they've talked about it in the sense that there's bliss associated or like a spiritual intoxication. So I experienced those. Um, and yeah, but anyway, so you're connected with your love inwardly, as in a sense of experience, like only having connection with love externally, that can you can be cut off at any time. If you can cut yourself off at any time with external love, but inward love, if you cut someone off, you still have inner love yourself. And also, a reason why you might cut somebody off is because, again, you already have the inner love within, and you're able to connect your love to someone or place or thing that you feel pulled to connect that love with. And in the sharing of love, you learn that you're in a relationship not with yourself, as it feels like you're in love with yourself when you're externally in love, but you have external love connected to. Because it's like every time you speak, you're speaking about the person. So then when you disconnect, you're only speaking about yourself connected to that person. And so it's like you're in a relationship with yourself, in other words. And so it's that's the kind, or people also, the other person on the other side of that is they only like what they can get. They're only happy if they're getting something. So it's like they're only dating themselves because they only will participate if it's convenient for them. But in the love where your love and their love meet, like you're in love inside and you love through your love channel and they connect with your love channel, then it takes the the us, the we, like together, the full infinity symbol. Both halves are connected. Now it's like you love them, they love you. You love them, they love you. You love them, and they love you. So now you become connected with that person, in love with that person, and you both can grow and build, and you both become one eventually. You both become one, two halves, not one half, not one and a half, but two halves to form one. You become one, or twin flame. You become two flames, but now made one, now made whole again, as they say. Twin flames finding each other. That's Gemini uh, karmic story. And then you become something else completely elevated, like that storybook forever, happy forever, happily ever after type of couple. Then you go live a strong, thriving life. And every time your next spiritual, I guess, experiences, and like in your ministry of life would be more like more elevation, things like that. Like, what do you want to do, with your abilities, these newfound resources you now have, being channeled into your twin flame path, and navigating around like which are the best, persons to get invested in, involved with. So it's like, yeah, this is, oh, that's a lot. I don't feel like there's a whole thing about twin flames that I'm just scratching the surface. There's a lot that comes with being a twin flame. But right now, I guess the focus is like the channeling the love within. And let me tell you, when you have this, you never get tired. Like, I never get tired of what I do, meaning, like, I don't experience burnout. Why do you not experience burnout when, yeah, if I read for people, if I talk with people, or I'm around two people too long, I get burned out. That's because I am connected with me. I'm with me. So I can read forever, and right now till 3, and at 3 p.m., then I get the rest of the afternoon, by the way, and the evening. The illusion is I've been here all day. No, afternoon is 30 minutes from now, and I get my entire evening to me, and my night to me, and my wee early hours of the morning to me, because I like to binge. I For the past couple of days though, I've been easing off the binge. I've been, going to bed properly. So I hadn't been like like staying up to like 4 a.m. Think nothing crazy. So like I've been going to at least making myself lie down. And like last night actually, I turned off all sounds. It was what they call no pitch in the not in the dark, and or no sound, no sound whatsoever. And it just happened to happen. And I was like, I'm just gonna just lay here. And but oh, that's also when I had that crazy dream. So when I forced myself to be still, and I was so focused that I got locked into a dream that they literally, like, lights were out. People were like, "Aren't you going to wake up yet?" So they were like, let's go talk to some. They literally are. If you were, that's the first live I had today. I talked about that. Yeah, we kind of got stranded out there in the dream world, and they literally, like, like had to walk behind the scenes. And I got to see stuff, and because they're wondering like, okay, why are you still here? You should have waken up by now. And everything was becoming more real and more like the 3D world, and it was getting pretty serious. But they were like, maybe you're in a coma. It's like, yeah, because you wake up, like, you do this in stages, like you flip into other realms, like, or dream scenes, and then you come out, and then you're, so rather than tell the story all over again, it's in the first live. So if you like the spooky stuff of dreams, it's the one that has the door on it, and it's talking about, I don't know the title. It's Two Lives Up. Gosh, I don't even remember the title. It's like Two Lives Up though. The one with about the door, and exploring and dreams. That one, the most recent one. That one would tell you about. Oh wait, I actually start the live with that story, so you don't you get to skip all of the. I don't get into an argument until the end because that's the first. That's when I read what was going on in the chat. So I had, so yeah. So you get to skip me when I before I start arguing with anybody. you get the dream. I said when it, in fact I said I'm going to tell the dream completely first before I read the chat and argue with somebody. So you get the story first, and I'm in good spirits because I hadn't read anything, that anybody said. And then, yeah, and then later on, after I've told the story, excuse me, then I read what was going on in the chat. But it was a really good story, and a lot of people like weaving in and out. They're coming in like at five at a time, and things like like listening in, and they would hear like parts of it, like wow, that's crazy. So it's the one that's got over like 100 views. It was a really great story, and then somebody came in and was, um, I'm glad I didn't read it. I'm glad I didn't read it while I was telling my story because the story was wonderful. Um, I deleted the comment though, so I did delete it because it didn't add intellectual value, and I want people to read or listen to the story about dreams and like getting stuck over there, and like because there's a lot of wonderful mysteries that teach about the art of dreaming and or dreaming and traveling and what certain things mean, like why do the scenes switch, and as I talk about being behind the scenes, so to speak, and how did that happen. So this thought I would pass that along. um, yeah. In this live, based on what people commented in the last previous live, I was like, well, let me come on here to make it very clear, like what I do. First of all, this is what I do, and this is what I do it for. There's a different. I've actually started a nonprofit before, and it was under metaphysics, and I helped a lot of people. And I did it. I raised it in California, and it was called Diligence by Isaiah, and it was a nonprofit at 501c3 status, and I took it only took me 3 months to put it together. I had bylaws and everything, and I did not have to use in my bylaws. I didn't have to use entertainment only, and I would never use entertainment only. I don't even use entertainment only in my and the reason why I get away with it is because I I have education. I have a university that says I am a. This is more like a religious educational. It's not only religious, but it's educational. So it's considered also philosophical. It's metaphysical. It's holistic. So I don't use entertainment only because it's not for entertainment. Entertainment just happens to happen, but it's not like entertainment to protect myself. No, it's this is my practice. This is my practice. So under those rules is a reason why. But people say you're dumb if you don't use entertainment only. Well, you're kind of behind on what how advanced that actually the metaphysical community, thereby psychic community, has become today. And the reason why they even use entertainment only in history, you might be a little bit not really up to par. There's many reasons why that happened. They used the entertainment only because when they went to recoup their money back, they had lost millions in the 80s when like AT&T and etc. were trying to recoup their money back because people sued them. They specifically how the people won the lawsuits because they said they didn't get the chance to speak with the psychic whom they wanted to. So they made the premise and the thoughts that, well, it's for entertainment only, that we're here to entertain you. But they were like, because people was like, we really believed it, and we really believed that we were going to get this chance to speak to a Miss Cleo. In fact, that's the story of Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo wasn't in trouble because she wasn't psychic enough. She was in trouble because that people were calling in and they thought that they were talking to the Miss Cleo on television, but they were getting somebody completely different. So then they started writing for entertainment purposes only. And not only that, they also got rid of the 900 lines, and that's also why AT&T and T and so forth don't allow. Like if you try to say, I want to open up a psychic hotline, and you try to do a 900 line like in the 80s, and you try to go through AT&T, they're going to say no, and they're going to say, well, why not? They're going to give you the legal version because it's a high risk business, and so we don't even do that with it's like equivalent to the adult services, adult industry. We don't even allow them to have those anymore. So you have to, now you can still acquire one, but that's so outdated to get a 900 number line. But you can also get an 800 number line. So a lot of people are using more like the 800 line and then doing business like direct. So like you call in, and get a membership, and then they work it like that, and then you get patched through. You have to like work with the psychics direct. But they cut out having to go through take like AT&T collecting the money through phone to phone connect. So yeah, so you got to know all that story. Then you can talk about well, if you're a psychic, you need to put entertainment on it. No, I can for scientific research, for research and educational purposes. Thank you, and I'm gonna leave it there. So not entertainment. I'm not here to entertain you. So I'm not here to be like fortune cookie tell, like fortune telling no, I fortune tell yes, but not like like I'm gonna pretend like I'm a wizard and I mean, I may really think I'm a wizard. No, yeah. Well, I mean, we can have a good time though. That doesn't. So when you say entertainment, I'm meaning like have a good time and laugh some. Like y'all kind of pick on me. That could be entertainment, but that's not all. That's not only what we're doing. We're also we're having education. We're talking about spiritual things. We're talking about things that you wouldn't possibly know because you're not read in that. So I share with you, and yes, there's scientific elements to it as well, metaphysical sciences. So yeah, we talk about variations of spirituality and what is psychicism versus mysticism, things like that. A lot more than just that. Those are just like I'm just throwing some things out there generally, but we go like deeper into these things like meditation, and we talk about the different correlation between the Bhagavad Gita and scriptures. You've heard me talk about that a lot, at least. But so many other things that people are asking me. Well, what are some methods I can do to help me improve? Some of my readings. People asked about that a few days ago in the chat. Yeah, so that's and yeah, I can get away with not including uh, entertainment only. I can get away with it. That's because I have education. I have a university that support me and back me up. You know, and Washington. We can read all that what Washington said on this subject. Which basically, so I read it so you don't have to. It's basically is that it's considered like they consider this to be my religious right, um, and and also to receive uh, degrees aligned with those religious beliefs. Like, so therefore, my degrees uh, aligns with my practice. So, um, yeah. So being a metaphysical science practitioner, is in perfect alignment with Washington's law of what degrees, like specifically what degrees are specific to what practice. So like versus another. So this is where mine is, okay, and that's why. And I do of course I have the experiences of working like you say, get to do you do consultations? Yes, I do consultations with clients every day, and also internationally and nationally. And I work and study every day, to improve my abilities, my skills. So that's um, I'm also in an international, American database, but also an international database. So I'm in an American database of ministers, and yeah, I'm gonna continue to share my experiences with you all, and that's why, because it's such a high level of education, not entertainment but education. That's why I'm like, saying like it's got to be a to like the different, like the questions or statements that people pose. Like that's why I'm like, you have to you have to like back that up. If you're gonna say it, you can say it, but you got to back it up. And it has to have. It's very important to add intellectual value to those statements. It's got to be, you got to be able to back them up, because we don't want to, like, I can't let them like breathe life. And for now, I can keep an eye on the chat box. It's not like rapid fire posts. Um, so at some point, I guess when it gets to that, people might sneak in some, what they call it, like under the belt comments. Um, so I might not be able to do anything about it when it gets pretty heavy. But for the most part, I can answer everybody's questions. If they have a legit question, though. I mean, a legit question, or give some feedback in a, if it's legit statement and it's presented properly. Um, I can answer, I guess, or speak on certain subjects. Mhm. So that's where it's at. So these are things that you wouldn't know unless you like really, as you say, got into the industry. And otherwise, that's like a person on the outside describing what's going on the inside. They only can describe something that they see visibly, but they can't see what's all the way on the inside. So they won't speak to things that we would say, well, this is the standard, or this is pretty standard these days. You're kind of 20 years behind, like you're 10 years, 20 years, 15 years behind, for example. Um, when did I start? 2013, 2014. Yeah, so you about uh 20, 25 years behind. Yeah, because it's, yeah. Um, that's when about 2013, 2014 is when I launched um, my nonprofit with 50c3, except all that, and bylaws, etc. Um, so yeah, you're that's pretty far behind. Because if I was able to do it then, I mean, you would better do this like more longer than that, because I'm always late. So you gotta, if I do it in 2014, you gotta add at least a decade. So I bet a lot farther than that. Of not having to include, again, it's all in the wording, and you get the right people to write it out for you. Then yeah, you can not have to say for entertainment purposes. But it's easy to say that when you're always right. I'm always like 100% right. I'm always right. So at the time, I would have said I'm so correct that this will like raise a standard. Like I'm so correct in my readings all the time. Like I have, like, if a person is, something is not gonna happen with a person, or if it's not this or that, it just is, and that's just the truth. And so they never have to worry about like little thing like entertainment purposes only. Wait, I'm always right. you know, um, including even if I were to do like, let's say, sometimes I word it differently these days, but there's something called medical intuitive. Basically, what that is I like look at a person and they kind of turn it to X-ray, and able to see and go straight to the part, the things that they say, this is what's going on. Now, it's not me diagnosing; it's me saying, when they say, well, I have an issue with me, and I said, well, allow me just to open my eyes, which, in other words, so it turns into like I'm looking at an X-ray, and it shows what's going on here, and then I just tell them. And a client of mine contacted me. They've been trying to become pregnant. They had with no success. They took my reading and what I said back to the doctor. The doctor said, we might as like kind of like, well, we might as well try what's left, and they did it. And then 2 weeks after, they called and said, guess what, we're pregnant. So they said, and I want to tell you how it happened. Or it felt like 2 weeks after, but they say, we want to tell you how it happened. We don't know if we want to tell you, because I made a big deal of them asking the question, like, well, they don't like me to talk about this, but I guess I'll word it to you like this. And they said, well, we told the reason I had to like literally think about how I would tell you this, but we told the doctor everything you told us. Basically, we took your reading to the doctor, and then the doctor did what you suggested, and then it happened. So I was like, I'm so happy. What a blessed with a baby girl, and they got the dream house that they wanted. And they were like, but there's one thing. We work for a company. They were trying to get out of it. I said, yes. They forgot the last piece of their reading. That is that the wife would start a business within the home. It was like all I heard was, oh yeah. So yeah, I don't need to put entertainment on. Like, if those kind of readings, I don't have to put entertainment only. Yeah, so I don't. That's why you won't ever see that on here. No, but that doesn't mean you can't have some laughs. Entertainment just happens, but I don't like. My goal is not to come on here and entertain. It just happens. It just so happens that people are entertained or get entertained for some reason or another. But my readings are very real. Yeah. And my answers are always correct. And no one argues with me about the gift. It's always about something that has nothing to do with the gifts. So it has nothing to do with being psychic if we get into an argument. Kind of like if when you get into an argument with a celebrity, you never get into an argument about the celebrity's talent, like the fact that they are a professional actor or dancer. It's always something that they did, like something like their personality. It's always something like that you hate on. And you think, I admit I'm not a professional dancer, but this is what I'm talking about specifically. So that's like the same with me. Like no one can, argue like Miss Cleo. No one ever, you never hear anybody from that era say that they had a problem with Miss Cleo being a psychic. They had a problem, only problem with Miss Cleo is they wanted to talk to Miss Cleo, and they kept getting dispatched to other psychics. That, in fact, that's how they won the court uh, lawsuit over with the big telephone companies of that era, like AT&T and all of those. Was, well, we didn't talk to Miss Cleo anyway. Well, we want to sue because we spent all this money, and they kept saying that we're going to talk to Miss Cleo. Well, I was told I'm going to talk to Miss Cleo soon, but I kept getting this other type of psychic. I don't even know if they were psychic anyway. It's like, like false advertisements kind of thing. It was saying, and that's what she was held, why she was in trouble. Not because she cheated anybody, not because she wasn't truly a psychic or she got her stuff mixed up. They were going for her identity that she didn't even own. So that's why when they sued, that's why the companies were sued. That's why AT&T lost out on millions, multiple millions of dollars, because how she got out of it, she didn't even own her name. That makes you think if you're a woman, and also if you haven't seen a black psychic sense, let alone, well, you've seen women, but like a black woman, you never seen the combination of the one be one. You've seen women, yes, men, yes, um, not like Miss Cleo, black woman, right? You have not seen since. But yeah, they they kind of did a wrong. She didn't even own Miss Cleo the name. She didn't own herself. That was definitely harsh, but at the same time, though, it was a hidden blessing because she didn't own her name. It like when they had to sue, that the telephone companies got pulled into that lawsuit. Yeah, so it was like I don't even own my shit. I don't even own my name. She didn't even own her name. She didn't. Miss Cleo didn't even own Miss Cleo. Her actual name. What's her actual name? Okay, hold on. Because it's for educational purposes. American Psychic and Fraudster. That's why yeah, they get to illustrate her story, but not a fraudster. Miss Cleo, she died with cancer. People who get sued with money that's inconceivable, yes, usually they do get a cancer. She was an American television personality, actress, best known portraying Miss Cleo, a spokesperson for a psychic pay per call minutes psychic service line. Her name was Yuri Del Harris. Was her name? Didn't own Miss Cleo. From the Psychic Readers Network. When I was growing up, I said I want to work with from the Psychic Readers Network. Um, let's see. She was born. She was smart, smart, smart. Seattle. Uh, okay, hold on. She's written plays. Let's see. Yes, she was an actual actress. Okay. The Psychic Readers Network. It says that started the Psychic Advisors Network. Okay. Which is still going on to this day. Psychic Friends Network. That's the one I dreamed of someday being a part of. But who things happen. People grow. People then grow old and die. So it says Florida began working as a tarot reader psychic for a telemarketing center. She was approached by um, Access Resource Services while working at an event. Okay. And they agreed to appear, and network told her all the training and the whole two things: keeping people on the phone. Okay, look, this is what they tell you when you do work for those kind of phone lines. Two things: keep people on the phone as long as possible. One, and if you can't, you're not going to be a successful psychic on their hotline. And then two, telling people what they wanted to hear. That's yeah, those are, and they still have that model today, which I don't do good in because I can't keep people on there. I help people in a minute or less, 2 minutes or less, 3 minutes or less, because I actually help people. And I don't tell people what they want to hear. Like if an ex is not coming back, I literally will tell you the ex ain't coming back. And then people, especially American people, they get huffy and puffy with me. And so, yeah, I can't work with those type of companies. The companies I work with now, it's not about keeping people on for as long as possible. And in fact, they say, look, how are you about working with people like 2 minutes to 3 minutes or less? And then therefore, yeah. And then so I'm rewarded for being able to work like I've always felt more like natural with working with people. Also, I don't have to tell people what they want to hear. I get to tell people what I actually see, and it's metaphysical. The environment in both of my lines. So I'm with my soul tribe. I had to work in those lines to discover who I was. And my mentors already had told me that they raised me to be ethical and I wouldn't get along with phone psychic lines. And they were right. But the ones that I'm with now are at least are more aligned with my core value. Yep. And they literally tell you this, like these two things that I mentioned, keeping people on as long as possible and telling people what they want to hear. Those are the two things that they tell you. They're two rules. And if you have these two things, you will be very successful on their line. Yeah, they'll bend over backwards for you, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't because I'm a real psychic, as you know. Um, the good thing is I want to stay in my lives, yeah, for as long as possible. That's so some things are true, and yeah. Let's see. Segregated. Okay, so Harris began working for the Psychic Readers Network under the name Cleo. If she's working under okay, so under her name, her stage name is Cleo. She worked under Psychic Readers Network. She did not own her name. So our stage name and our likeness, just like the actors when they write contracts, it is for the use of whomever projects you're under. So in this case, it's the Psychic Readers Network for Mrs. Harris or Mrs. Cleo. So yeah, claimed a shaman. The only thing that they could claim is looking at her storyline for her stage name, and where she says like basically we don't share where we're from. Yeah, don't do that. Don't share where you're from. Even in my metaphysical university materials, they recommend like don't be telling people where you live because like the stories of every story, even as a psychic or a my dean who wrote out my university plan said, yeah, your followers or people in your classroom will show up at your door, knock, knock, knock. Oh, it's just me. I just wanted to come in and like so uh-huh so the horrific stories like a little video thing and a big six man yeah, six man 6 feet plus man big man comes and pull your mailbox out of the ground type stuff and come and knock down bring down your door kick your door in kind of thing. So yeah, we don't want that. Of course, we don't. Now, just to be fair, we don't want also the psychics who scam, who like create love relationships, psychic relationships with people, and then and then get dirty. Yeah, we don't want that to happen either. So, yeah. So, but anyway, she created her basically a story, but they own her name and her likeness. By the way, her voice and her image, like any images that she gives to them, she can't use that image anywhere else. So let's say if it's online today and they use images that she specifically gave them, she can no longer use those images anywhere else. So she has a photo shoot, she gives those the images to them, they own those images to use as they see fit for marketing purposes, specifically for marketing purposes. But she cannot like take those same images and put them over here. I don't think that I don't think that would I don't think they'd say anything if she were to use those images in a magazine, let's say. But we're talking about like just social media stuff or like other platforms. Like this is like a readers network, and so she wanted to go to work like for like Jan's readers today. She couldn't use those same marketing images for Jan readers today as she used for Psychic Readers Network, if that makes sense. But I'm pretty sure if she like threw like that would be like a flex on their behalf if she used like if she like lands a magazine space and she like front cover and she happens to use and they use that image for that she used for it's like that would fly, or she's on a big billboard that probably they like, yeah, we don't let that go. But if it's yeah, other places maybe not. Well they might make a big fuss out of it. Who knows? I know contractually it's a no go. She appeared as okay, yeah, we got that already. So she said what she said. The network used the title Miss Cleo um, and sent unsolicited emails, some of which stated Miss Cleo has been authorized to issue you a special tarot card reading. Here it is. It is vital you call immediately. So they thinking they're going to speak to Mrs. Cleo. And this is why they sued. It says charges of deceptive advertising and fraud has nothing to do with Miss Cleo. Well, not nothing to do with Yuri Del Harris specifically. Miss Cleo, yes, because Miss Cleo is owned by Psychic Readers Network. So yes, tech like technically, but not Miss Harris. So it says charges. Okay, so charges of deceptive advertising and of fraud on part of the network began to surface around this time. Among the complaints were allegations that calls to Miss Cleo were answered by her associates, other psychics, which they say, who were actors reading from scripts, and they did do script because they called them preambles in the day. So that means, like, let's say if back in the day, if you would have called me, I would have to read you a preamble that lasts a solid minute that I would have to confidently read to you first before I even begin answering your questions. Yeah, and I would have to literally work out how to, in a conversation, get through the entire preamble that's going to absorb at least a minute. Like first, like they don't even really start answering your questions until 5 minutes. Until 5 minutes. It's like you're talking to somebody who keeps dancing around your questions. I don't. Today, there's no way that could fly because people are more like especially in Americans are very aggressive on the phone. So that wouldn't even work today. That practice, hence. And anyway, as a real psychic, I can't even pretend that I can't do it. I couldn't do it. Okay. So yeah, because I help people with that. Because my manager was male, my first manager, and he actually brought me out to California to teach me everything behind the. That's why I know all this stuff. Because he said he was one of the. It was like people who formulated three kind of lines, including this one, the Psychic Readers Network, and he was one of the ones. And so basically, he brought me out there, and we sat down, and he was telling me the whole juicy story. That's how I know about all this, by the way. I heard it from the horse's mouth. Like I was there. In fact, this is where we started out with call centers. That pastor, he's late. That pastor, trafficking people. Call centers, by the way, is what they. Okay, it went from first of all, it started in bookstores, and then from the bookstores, somebody got an idea. The rich people, these are all rich people. They said, "Oh, look, tarot cards. What am I thinking?" And laughing it up. And they say, "Ooh, that's a good idea. Let's start. Let's start. We should have a bookstore. People would come in for readings." And they said, "Well, what about call center? People call into the bookstore at the call center. We line up the psychics, and they just read for people, and you can read from people at home." Before you even get to the bookstore. And then you can have somebody on call, like, somewhere when they get here, they can even have a personalized reading. And then they could buy books. And then they went from, well, hey, what if the psychics could stay at home? And then psychics started being able to actually read from home. So that's the progression, right? Oh, why did I bring up that pastor? Oh, that pastor tried to create call centers and he was forced laboring people. Somebody need to go to him and tell him, that he's loved. Like, I don't. You don't need to tell me. You need to tell that. You need to tell your pastor that even though he was. By the way, the Bible in the book of Job, Job is warned of traffickers. Well, anyway, so he's trafficking people by way of. They said they're getting him for trafficking and forced labor, and he's making them on a call center, raising him millions of dollars. That is insane. But anyway, back to what we were reading. So then it says, among the complaints were allegations that calls to Miss Cleo were answered by her associates, as it states here, or other psychics. Of course, these psychics, people say, were actors because, by the way, the contracts, even today, are the same contracts that you give to actors. Hence, anything you want, like that's why California has a firm grip on anything you want to know about spirituality, metaphysics, holistics. It's all very much entangled as very dark. By the way, it gets you find satanic people are constantly reaching for for that information, that information, and they twist it dark, and then also they make scripts out of it, and then they they get it, to try to get the scripts handed off, to directors to read, and then next thing you know, you're like, I recognize that character, I recognize that name, I recognize that scenario. Then you realize, oh boy, they're making scripts out of our conversations and passing it, because they also have writers who are connected and trying to, everybody's trying to be an actor there, everybody's trying to get hook up with directors, everybody's trying to get their script into directors, and all they do is hearing about sappy stories all day, and very toxic storylines. That's why I call it horrific stories. That's why I was like, this is never gonna work. I mean, I know what you're doing. I see what you're doing. It isn't gonna work. It's toxic. It's bad stuff. It's bad writing. Even it's not gonna work, and it didn't. It was like karma. So anyway, uh, so it says who are actors reading for scripts, and that calls promoted as free were in fact charged. Yeah, like they say, first 5 minutes free. Preambles cost you. Yeah. So that means that Miss Cleo, or okay, Miss Harris playing Miss Cleo, but Miss Harris did not own Miss Cleo. The psychic network did. What was it called? What group? Oh, Psychic Readers Network owned Miss Cleo. So, which that was their lawsuit, and yeah, they owned her, which turned out to be a hidden blessing, because they were like around her, absorbing all of the calls that were meant to reach her. If she was just on her own, she would be like a psychic saint. She'd be psychically like in a good light today. But in her situation, it was like, thank goodness, that she had to go under a stage name, because it missed her and hit them. But I think that I'm pretty sure if Miss Cleo was just like Miss Harris, even if she chose Miss Cleo, but she was able to be herself as Miss Cleo and no network, and it's 2025, she would be big. She would like be like a Sylvia Brown. Am I saying that she wouldn't get messed up like Sylvia Brown in the end? But she would have thrived. She would have gone on and become. She was great. Clearly, she's famous. Everybody knows Miss Cleo. But on her own, I'm saying on her own, and if the you know and the environment just allowed for her to create in this space, and they supported her like a Sylvia Brown, she would have did just fine on her own, and people would have got to talk to her. Again, did you just hear everything I said? I know I'm like all over the place, but let me say it slowly. They only talk about the fact they didn't get a chance to interact with Miss Cleo, but they never talk about Miss Cleo being a fraudster, as in her readings are off. She's not a very good tarot card reader. In fact, on YouTube, she has videos where she's teaching people. I looked, I listened. She did really well in teaching about the tarot card. She was authentically a tarot card reader and very good at it in her day when she's online and people are calling in and she's doing the tarot cards. That was exciting to watch her do that. Like, and they were like, how did you know that? Yeah, this is right. And she would call in that energy and she played her role, but she read authentically. She may have created a scene like a Cleo, and she really fed into her stage name, but her readings were phenomenal. Her ability, her charisma is like all A's, like A plus, A plus, A plus, A plus. Her giving, her execution, holding people's attention, her entertaining side, her delivery was phenomenal. You cannot dispute that. The only thing that's disputed here is, wait a minute, you want some money from me? Wait a minute, you said I was going to talk to Miss Cleo, but you gave me everybody else but Miss Cleo. I'm suing. So that anyway, you know the story. Anything else? Access Resource Services, doing business as Psychic Readers Network, was sued. It was the Psychic Readers Network was sued in various lawsuits originating, and it has all of the Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, New York, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Florida, every elsewhere, as well as Federal Communications Commission. They was sued. It says the Federal Trade Commission charged the company's owners and Harris's promoters, Stephen Fetter, and Peter Stoltz with deceptive advertising billing, but not Miss Harris, because Miss Harris was actually the victim. There was like victim of a network of $1 billion, but it was actually Miss. It says, hold on. It emerged during a lawsuit in Florida that Harris had been born. Oh, besides finding out that she had a stage name, clearly that ain't nothing. Okay. The state of Florida also sued Harris under a provision of the law that allowed spokespeople to be held liable. Okay, Dave Ehrenberg of the Florida Attorney General's office led the state's case against her. His successor dropped the charges. The charges were dropped, and she never was sued. Period. And that's the end of it. Period. She was never sued. He attempted it, but he couldn't because it wasn't under. She was not. She didn't even own her name. You don't sue somebody. You know why. She's perfect. She's perfect. You have to call her an act legally. You call her an actor because you don't have time to prove whether she's a psychic or a real psychic or not. But the fact is, it was all because they couldn't. It's all right here, and this is exactly my manager, male, is 63 of age. Everything they're telling me right here about her, that's what he said. Only difference was we were drinking Jack Daniels and doing our thing. So, and I was grabbing lemons, that had crossbred with oranges from his tree. And it was night, wee early out of the morning. It was cool. It was always cool at night. He leaves the door open, but the Jack Daniels, of course, warm you up, and it was so, and it's also delicious. The lemon and the crossbred with the orange, and he was telling me this whole story, and everybody. There's some other interesting parts but this is specifically the legal part. But everything he said, that it wasn't she that was sued. She was active. She's actually the victim because she didn't even own her name. Come to find out, and they like trying to sue her. Actually, they were suing the people, like the people who promote. It was everybody else getting bread on the table, getting fed. She was just doing her work, and everybody thought that they were going to talk to her, and yeah, and so on and on and rinse and repeat that. Rinse and repeat. Isn't that fascinating? That's scary. If you're a woman if you're a woman, of course, if you're a woman in black, and like you want to like, I know they did a documentary on her, but you need to do a deeper dive. You need to find out. You need to read what I just read. I think it'll give you a new perspective on things, but it doesn't make it into a race thing, of course. But I think it's special the fact that this was a woman, and considering the time of, like people who are just having certain privileges, that herself she would not been able to go to have for herself because of the time frame in which she's doing this line of work, that I think it's worth looking at if you're especially a woman, if you're especially a black woman. The fact that she is black and she did not own her name, but it was a blessing but it was a blessing. Only I can say this. You wouldn't think to say this, but I can say this. I'll say it for you. It was a blessing that she didn't own her name. Had she owned her name, they would have sued her socks off, and they would have had the case to sue her. But because she did not own her stage name, when they sued, it was everybody who owned her name, and those who promoted her name, and who owned the rights and the copyrights to her name. Those are the ones who had to come up with all that money, $1 billion, equivalent of $1 billion, but millions and millions of dollars. And yeah, that would get anybody cancer. Coronary cancer. What kind of cancer did they say she had? She took her out at eight in her 50s, early 50s, like 53, I think. Wow, that's young. That's very young. But yeah, that kind of lawsuit will take you out. There's some people get like lawsuits, and all of a sudden they've been healthy, exercise, work out, and all of a sudden get pancreatic cancers, in the middle of a lawsuit, you know, my gosh, getting cleaned out. They couldn't believe it. Their body, poor body, can't take it. Man, yeah, money is. That's why we said money is spiritual. Money is attached to your energy. Your energy supports that money. Oh, I'm 18 minutes over. Okay, everybody, I gotta go. I'm gonna close out. See, you learned a little bit. You see, that's why I want to have more important, elevated conversations. Yes, we could talk about what's going on in the world, but let's do this with intelligence, okay? I mean, yeah, I could talk about like despair, like like she was obviously in a disadvantage, but actually because her disadvantage, it actually played as a strength for her, in a way. But of course, in the '80s, you would not have had the internet. So she just, all this would have been by ear. They would have got on her living nerves, and she wouldn't be able to take out a smartphone, and she didn't even have dial up. She had to like wait till the tabloids come out, or wait till the lawyers say something to her. They probably kept her racked up with full of meetings, but and telling her one thing versus another. Oh, no, you're not being cheated. Well, it's not. This is what. They would have got on her living nerves. So I mean, but so let's when we remove all that, the hustle. We remove the hustle. She as a person, she's blameless, absolutely blameless. I know there's no such perfect person, but I don't know if she's. I mean, I wouldn't call her a martyr, but she definitely should be a significant figure in the spiritual history. And again, women should like do some deep digging into this aspect of her life, and so that I think it would be spiritual. Because I know women as a whole, not just black women, but women, women from different countries of Europe are telling me this. They are they have this next stage is okay. Women have taken up what money comes to them, but all the way now they're working on the part like how money reaches them. How money reaches men is different. How money reaches women, and women have to women have to take the charge of the money that they're getting, the money that flows to them, and now they have to take up how the money flows to them. That was our last conversation. So women in Europe are already working, trying to contemplate this. And of course, that's going to catch fire. Was it like 300? Well, I heard it was 300, like three, is it 305? Oh, excuse me, 300, is it 300,000? 500 women? Yeah, that have, or, have either left or become unemployed or something like that over the past few months. So, but women, by the way, before that was already being let go from other communities. So wasn't just black women or black men. It's more like so. Before it was like I saw white men, I saw white women saying, "Hey, it happened to us. You're next." Everyone was like, "See what happens when you do this?" Like look, and then it happened to them. So look, you all better pull together. All my clients, when I start doing live like shows, you better be in the seat. You better be in the seat. I don't care if you're from Australia. You better be in the seat. You better be in the seat. You better be in the seat. I don't care if you're from Asia, China. You better be in the seat. I don't care if you're from Tennessee. You better be in the seat. I don't care if you're from Alabama. You better be in the seat. If you're from Chicago, you better be in the seat. 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 Everybody, they better look like it better look like a rainbow. And I mean like chakra rainbow, because the crown chakra is white, is the white gold. So I mean like everybody in all the colors better be in the seat. And that's why you can't be like I see look all because all look this is your retribution, and then it flipped back on you. Now everybody got cut out. Everybody lost a job. Now what are we gonna do together all at once? Now what do we do? I I'm psychic, so I'm metaphysical. I'm keeping up with all these things because I was telling y'all jobs are going to be saying you're smart as us because only the best of the best who are this is happening to. They're like, I don't know, we don't know why, but you know what I said last year? I said this is the time of independence. business will be letting people go who they feel are like, it's like like letting go of the firstborn. Like, hey, you are great. These other people, they can't pull together and raise up a company, but you can. So if anybody go, maybe you. Since a lot of us, we got to decide who goes. Maybe it should be you. These people can do just fine, and they're still growing and developing. You have grown so high, you should be doing what I'm doing. We okay with the competition. Go out there and create something independent of your own. Go get other people in the industry. Y'all band together. You know, you do what you do, the software, you do what you do with engineering, you do what you do in directing, and you all come together. Now build. You know, so I was like, yeah, the road towards independence and autonomy is associated with this year. Because the year of resources was last year. This is the year of marriage and partnerships. This year. Yeah, and I was talking about that. And here we are. You know, people are like finding out like they didn't. Okay, so I guess what we're gonna do? Like, it's about creating a business and doing independent. You don't have to like go all of a sudden now create. You know, like they said like plant. Your own food. You don't have to go as far as like, okay, now I got to learn how to crochet. You don't have to do that. You know, but you do have to take your soul path. You get on your soul path and get with, because it's your partnership and marriage, get with the different partners or maybe other people who have also cut ties and get together and create something for yourself, something like to that effects. Yep. So and everything is kind of, well, they're telling me now. I was telling them, now they're telling me. But we still send them all the universe, the prayer, because it's very much consistent with the age of Aquarius. This is our what, second year into the age of Aquarius, almost. We're like 2 years into age of Aquarius, where are becoming even more enlightened. And yeah, you'll watch. You're gonna see some independent projects coming up, popping up out of nowhere. You will see it. You will hear about it, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, you did it. You see, you figured it out. It came together, worked out. Anyways, anyway, um, independence, as I also stated, independence is on all levels. Even people in like the seats of power, because independence can mean I used to work with this partner. I wanted to expand away from old limitations, so I started working with these partners, and now I have more range of authority. So it can mean that way. Also, if you're a corporate person, you said, "What, you don't get autonomy in corporate medical administration." Well, it may mean that, well, one of my clients who actually fit the description took over an entire floor, runs it. She runs that. That is her autonomy. So autonomy happens in various ways. It can mean more structure, better structures, and that could be a sense of independence. The kind of independence you may be seeking, hence, it makes it independent. The kind of structures you might be seeking creates the independence that you desire or need for this next journey of success. So yeah, it happens in many forms, but this part is as flowing as that sounds. This one little part about the independent autonomy thing and cutting ties from the old way to the embracing the new. That's a bit set in stone. Some things are set in stone because, yeah, well, we have free will. I can decide. Yeah, yeah. But you're also co-creating, and also certain things are set in stone. But now you have the free will to create the direction. Now, minus the co-creating part. Okay, I'm gonna free will this. They're gonna free will that. But now we say they've done their free will. They decided, okay, they cut me, but now my free will which has always been my inner will, to create something that I'm proud of. And that's where then your autonomy flower grows. That starts to grow and blossom, and you're like, I did it, yay! And then we all are clapping for you on TikTok. Okay, I'm going. Okay, I'm really gone this time, and I will try to come in the morning. I don't know. Whenever I come in, whenever.